Maybe we'll get somebody to come in here with us here in a little bit. Right now, we're starting out the show with just me and you, Pete.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Wes is on the road. He said he might stop by if he can. We sent a couple guys some invites. We'll see if they come on.
Tell you one thing is for sure is we are more than likely to stay on topic tonight with Wes not around. Not that that's a bad thing at all because we enjoy it, but we're more likely.
Yeah, well, at least
not
there's
lose
no
train of
dead
thought.
space.
That's
There's no
right.
dead space. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. If I were to do this thing by myself, there'd be a lot of dead space. I know when I go fishing, Pete, when I get out to the lake, it's almost like I make sure that I got everything ready. I make sure my batteries are charged, that handful of things that you do pre-trip. And once you get to the ramp, it's like when I first get out to when I back my trailer down, I first get out to take my straps off. That's like when I stop and I kind of anchor myself and I can feel the concrete under my feet. I can feel myself breathing. I can smell the air of the lake. It's like I take in all of these senses like all at one time, and it's like I just get locked in. Boom. That's all it takes. And once I'm locked in, I'm good. The only thing about having your mechanics so sound that you don't even have to think about them, like you don't even have to think about the physical part of fishing, the you know using the trolling motor, putting the anchor out, the way you cast your rods out, the way you put your baits on, the way you rig your rods, like all that stuff becomes second nature. You know exactly how you're going to do it and everything. You don't have to think about it. But when you have to actually think about something, like when you try something new and you actually have to think about it, it's so much harder to do than just doing something where the mechanics are sound. You don't even have to think about them. Do you agree? Do you think that it's like when you try something new, it seems like it's harder?
I agree, yeah, because like you talk about, you got the routine where you're stuck on something that you've done for a long time, and you know exactly what's happening. You know what you're doing, how you're running it, but you want to try something new. Now you're kind of second guessing yourself, like, all right, is my bait deep enough? Is my bait on the hook? Has my have my lines tangled? So the questions go on and on and on from there. But yeah,
That stress, that's you start getting stressed out there
yep.
when you start thinking about, okay, the fish aren't biting yet. Maybe I'm not in a good spot. Maybe I need to go do this. Maybe I need to do that. And you start having these racing thoughts about all these things that you should be doing. I think that there's like two ways that you can react to that. You can, because I've seen people that react to it in a very positive way, and I've seen people react to it in a very negative way, and I've reacted to it in both ways. Is if you're gonna be proactive, if you're going to focus on one thing at a time, I think it's a good thing. If you can make your mind up and say, okay, this isn't working, I'm going to go here, and not second guess yourself, be 100%, trust yourself. If you can do that, then being stressed out there about things like that could be a good thing.
That's exactly right. Now, talk about routines. My drive to the lake, that's my thought process right there. The whole entire drive, I'm like, am I gonna do this? What if they don't bite here? Where do I go? How deep am I going to fish? That's where my train of thought starts running. The whole drive. In particular, I speak of Norman. Got a 40-minute drive usually on these guide trips, but so much thought process runs through your mind there. Then you get on the lake and
that's what I was
you
about
don't
to ask you.
experience stress until an hour and a half go by and you have not put a fish in the boat. That's your stress, and you're marking them. So what do you do then? What does a angler do? You can do several things. You can leave and try somewhere else. You can try a different tactic, a different speed, different color. I mean, the options are endless, but it's how you adjust to the situation that may set you apart or may make your day even better. Possible.
Yeah. Don't you have a crappie tournament coming up?
I do have one on Saturday. I was looking forward to it until this dang weather forecast, and yeah, I mean it'll be fun regardless. But it's a pretty stout competition for sure. For someone that's
like?
new in the live scope, I'm kind of second guessing myself, talking about this whole routine and everything. I don't really have a set routine yet in this live scope game, but I think
That's what I was going to say. It's
we're
like
really
when
going
you
to
try
find out on
something.
Saturday.
Yeah, when you start trying something new, it seems to me like when I try something new, like I could be really, really good at a certain thing,
Yeah.
and I do it all the time, and I'm really, really good at it. If I go to try to do something else, like I'm a good anchor fisherman, for example, if I were to go start trying to troll, just predominantly, just every time I go, it's 100% troll from the time I get there to the time I trailer the boat. All I'm doing is trolling, and I'm talking about a full spread, boards,
Uh,
free lines, down rods, everything, the whole nine. If I were to start doing, even though I used to do that all the time when I striper fish, now since I started catfishing, I'm an anchor guy. I'm all about finding a spot, precision casting, double anchor, being strategic, not just going out there and anchoring anywhere and just throwing out I have purpose behind everything I do when I anchor fish.
uh,
But if I were to switch things up and start, okay, I'm going to start trolling, I would be terrible at first because my mechanics has become an anchor fishing expert. And if I were to try to go back to trolling, doing nothing but trolling, I mean, yes, I could do it, but I'm not going to be as fast. You see what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
I have to I'm actually thinking about what I'm doing. I'm thinking when I'm putting this planer board on, I'm looking at it. I'm like, is this the right side? Is this the port side, or is this the starboard side?
Yeah.
Is the bead on there? Is the what's the coastal snap swivel? What's it doing? Checking everything. It's like I'm double checking everything because I'm not used to doing it. It's it's just weird how like it's not like riding a bike.
No, not at all.
You can
And
lose it.
one thing about fishing is like anything else, man. No 2 day is alike at all. I mean, what worked yesterday may not work today, kind of thing. So oftentimes you got to adjust. You got to do a little something different, or you got to go somewhere else, and you'll catch them.
Are you
Sometimes you
mainly
won't.
you're mainly a trolling guy, aren't you?
Correct. Yeah, that's all I do is troll artificial for the striper. Yes.
So you're probably not that great of an anchor fisherman. Have you ever done any anchor fishing?
For like striper or
Like on a regular basis, like every day you went fishing for a year.
yeah,
You
let's just
anchor
say
fish.
I have not anchored. Correct. Yes.
So you
I'm
would
not.
probably be. My point is, if you were to take the time to become an expert anchor fisherman, then the next time you went trolling, you wouldn't be as good at it as you are now
Uh-huh.
because it's the speed goes away because all the mechanics aren't second nature anymore because
Yep.
you've devoted your time and skill and effort and everything, your thought process to this one thing. It's you have to. I'm not saying you can't pick back up on it quickly because you probably could. You could get just as fast as you ever were within a week, probably, but it would take a week. You
Uh-huh.
can't just turn it on and off.
One thing that worries me now with this whole live scope thing is now how is that going to change the way I troll? Meaning, am I going to waste more time watching the electronics and not fishing and let that affect what I do, what I decide on, or just keep on going old school? So that's
I
that
think what's going to
we'll find
happen
out
is
this winter for sure.
you're going to get really, really good at the live scope, and I think you're going to get your mechanics down. In other words, like you have your mechanics down on how you fish now. Well, now that you got the live scope, you're fishing a lot differently now.
Uh-huh.
You're looking at things through that live scope. You're trying to figure it out, and you're going to become a live scoper. Is what's going to happen. You're going to get good at it. But the only problem with that is you're not going to want to fish without it after that happens.
Uh-huh.
I don't think.
True. Yeah, I get it. But am I going to spend more time in the front of the boat scanning, looking for fish while I troll at the same time and, kind of trying to follow the fish are, or just continue on old school, trusting my instincts and going where I think I should? Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think in doing that, you're gonna prove a lot of myths wrong
Uh-huh.
about fishing. You're like seasonal myths and water temp myth. Oh, you can't throw that. It's until it gets this water temp, or it ain't. Nah, they bite that better in the fall. I wouldn't use that now.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of those myths are you're going to learn. by watching these fish. You're basically watching the fish's behavior, like literally live. So I think you're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, I believe so. We'll see. Hey, there he is.
Lee Huffman. Huffman's Guide Service. What's going on, Lee?
I just got out of the shower, literally.
Are you fishing that crappy tournament with Pete this weekend?
I don't know. Last time we talked about it, I was on his boat, so I don't know.
Yeah. As of right now, my friend is still supposed to fish with me, but he may. I think he may be getting a call out tomorrow, so we'll find out for sure. But Huffy, man, 10 to 20, Gus to 25. I don't know, man. Yeah. It may for real, I could invite Huffy out there, but to be in, all reality and all honest, it's going to be probably one person fishing in front of the boat the whole entire time. That's how nasty.
Yeah, those conditions for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. We stood too deep in front of the boat a long time last time.
We were pretty good, didn't we? But I'm telling you what, you get a nice smooth day versus dang 2-foot waves. That's going to change things, no doubt about it. But it's supposed to be a northeast, and that is not going to be very good.
No, that's going to be rough on High Rock.
Yep.
That last place we fished, though, that wind might help you, though.
Yeah, so that's where pre-fishing comes into effect because I see what the forecast is, and now I am going to pre-fish Thursday and Friday looking for something away from a northeast wind.
Right. Yep.
Jeff Bill said, I caught a 37-pound flatty on the Schuylkill on Saturday. Do you guys know how to pronounce that? Is that German?
I ain't never seen that.
No clue.
Schuylkill. That's how you pronounce it.
There he is.
What y'all doing?
Hey, he's driving down the road.
Got a lot. Look at him.
Hey, we're talking about things you do to give you confidence and get your mind right when you're fishing.
What's the blue lights behind you? What's the blue lights behind you?
Look at the moon forecast.
No.
We going to jail, y'all. I need some money.
No, we've been down here at my grandkids' soccer. Lori got off work early, so we came to Georgia to watch the grandkids play soccer.
That's all right. What's that take you to get there?
Yes.
It took us an hour and 10 minutes.
That ain't bad.
Cool.
Well, who won the soccer game?
The girls won theirs and the boys lost theirs.
Okay, 1-1. Not bad.
All right.
Hey, and there's no organization. There's 16 youngins out there. Just everybody's trying to kick the same ball. That's all it is.
How old are they?
6 and 7.
Oh yeah, there's no organization in that. I coach kids soccer, but
it's like so funny, dude.
That age.
If they could kick that ball inside that goal as much as they kick it out of bounds, they would be brutal, dude.
Oh, ain't no doubt.
So do they have like the bigger, slower players play certain positions and the smaller, faster players?
When he said it's a free-for-all, it's literally a free-for-all.
It's a free-for-all. It's just actually funny.
Kids, and they just all do this the whole time.
No position.
No. The goalie. There are only 2 people that don't move.
Well, they got what they call a guard that plays in the front line about 4 or 5 feet in front of the goalie. I've never heard of that before in soccer, but that's what they do.
All right, back to fishing.
I mean, I guess it's like a center fullback. So what was the topic tonight? I jumped in late.
The topic was the mental part of fishing, the mental side.
Yeah, so we're talking about like preparation.
How do you deal with stress? What do you do to get your confidence up when you go? Like stuff like that. Like when, hey, that works. That really does work. So if some of the best fishermen that there are they're drinking beer out there.
I don't drink beer with my parties. Every now and then, like if they've had 5 or 6 and they're like, man, you sure you don't want one? And we're like in the bottom of the 9th. I'm like, yeah, what the heck? But
that is my one rule for myself. I will not drink alcohol on any guy trip at all. Now that's just personal preference, But
I've done it a handful of times, and more times than not, it's been with people I knew more than anything.
Yeah, I get it.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Lee, we're talking about what do you do when the fish are there on Lake Norman, for example. I know TJ's watching, so he can kind of chime in via chat here. What do you do on Lake Norman when you're out there fishing and the fish are there, but you're not catching anything?
So I kind of touched on that last
drink
week.
more beer.
There you go.
I kind of touched on that last week. You know, me and you had a long conversation about that. It's hard not to stay with them. I mean, like JR said, it's hard. It's hard to leave fish to look for fish that are biting. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're on a big school of fish, especially like Norman, I've noticed it more on Norman than anywhere. When you're on fish on Norman that aren't eating, they ain't no fish.
None of them's eating.
Yeah.
None of them's eating.
None of them's eating.
Yeah.
So, from my experience, if you'll just sit there and keep pestering them long enough, you'll hit that, like we were talking earlier, that hour and a half to 3 hour window.
Amen. And if you do find some fish that are biting, they're probably small. They're probably smaller.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's when, and I think I've heard Pete say this before, that's when artificial bait really plays a big part, because a lot of times you can get reaction bites from a fish that's just mad as hell, or he sees something that pisses him off. He don't want to eat it. He just wants to kill something because it's aggravating him.
I agree with that 100%. It's a reaction bite.
Yeah. And so this is where I disagree with you gents here a little bit. Yeah, and we're time of year here. You know, I'm more so a wintertime fisherman. You know, normally.
I'm talking winter time.
Yeah.
Really.
So in all seriousness, I feel like at certain places on Lake Norman, the fish will bite at certain times. So, you know, I started second guessing myself. I'm like, all right, what did the moon do last night? You know, or is it overcast? Or is it sunny right now? It's supposed to be overcast, you know? So if I'm on a pile of fish and they're just not doing nothing and I see them on the screen, I kind of see how they're laid up there on the screen, if they're active or not, I may drop them and I'll go somewhere else. And I have found in certain places of the lake, they will bite and they will not bite somewhere else. But when
I'll
they
agree with that.
You go
wintertime, I will agree with that.
And they may bite there too. So yeah.
Wintertime, I'll agree with that 100%. Especially if you go to places we're talking about that doesn't have a big concentration of bait in the winter.
Yeah.
When you put baits in front of those fish, they'll eat 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But how do you know that those fish that you left wouldn't have started eating when the fish that you found started eating?
Because you're like, hey, Lee, I'm leaving. You tell me when the dang fish turn on. I'll be back.
If you got a buddy boat out there, you could knock down some.
That's how it goes, really.
Yeah. It's a lot of benefit from the scientific method out there with a buddy boat.
Now, I will say this, all right? Here's one little pro tip here I'm going to add on Lake Norman. I think it's the same true with any other lake out there. Nothing will shut a bite down faster than some damn bass boat running by.
Oh.
Nothing will shut it down faster. You're on a bite or you know the fish are there and you have a constant stream of bass boats flying by.
Oh,
them
absolutely.
Fish will not bite. They won't.
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. No, for the simple fact, I've sat for hours on fish and not get a bite, and a boat or two come by, and boom, rods go off.
Yeah, I call it the barge bite.
More than once.
Well, the difference is NC fish are a lot more educated. SC, man, them dang fish are stupid.
So
I've experienced a barge bite before on Lake Wiley. Big, giant, what do you call those boats from the Great Lakes that come down here to Norman and Wiley? They're huge. Came by with his butt in the water.
Wake boats.
No, it wasn't a wakeboard boat. This was just like a 30-foot
early in
live aboard boat. Come by with his butt squatted and idle, just throwing the biggest wake ever, and then hammer a big fish right afterward. So, but I think that's different
I need you to make that question a little more in depth. I haven't seen the screen stacked up to spot lock and drop bait. Like you're saying, you've never seen. Thanks, babe.
Oh, that's sweet.
I haven't seen the screens stacked up to
she's
spot
a
lock and drop bait.
She even cooked me dinner and I ain't eat yet because see, look.
Oh, that's precious.
Because I'm sitting here talking.
Lee's showing his wife in the kitchen cooking.
Hey,
it's like a very good meal.
The biggest place on Lake Norman that I've ever seen it, and I know JR's seen this, in the river in the spring. I can go to that river on a Saturday at daylight and be smoking fish, and 20 or 30 boats show up, and you get to 8:30, It's done. It's done. Them
Yeah.
fish go from feeding on top. I mean, it's just as pretty as it can be to they set on the bottom. The only way you're going to catch them is anchor and cut bait, catfishing, as I call it. I can go up there on Wednesday and pull boards from daylight till 1 o'clock and catch fish.
I can't tell you how many times wintertime I've been, example here. I'm in the mouth of Mountain Creek fishing out there early morning, and there's a pretty steady bite. One here, one there, and all of a sudden you get a stream of 7 bass boats flying by. And you watch them fish on a depth finder go from here down like that. You're like,
And your arcs go from this to this.
Yep. Exactly.
I'll tell you one thing I haven't experienced. I'm not going to say I never will. I probably will now that I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah.
But in saltwater, I've yet to, when I see fish on my depth finder and I drop, I catch them. I've yet to find fish in saltwater and not bite and not catch nothing.
Yeah, that's hard to do from my little experience. You find fish in saltwater, they biting, buddy.
I'll be back.
Them king mackerel, man, they'll fool you sometimes. They won't, you'll mark them out there. You'll mark them in the bait, and they won't bite.
Well, let me back up. I'm sorry. I'm talking about bottom fishing, Pete.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just more bottom fishing.
Oh, yeah, bottom fish for sure.
Yeah.
So I wonder why that is. Why is there such a huge discrepancy between salt and fresh as far as how fish bite? Like, I wonder why sometimes fish bite. It seems like they're more likely to be on a time of day bite in fresh water. They're more likely to not bite at all.
Well, my theory on that, my theory is, JR, they're always in current. They're always like getting a workout. They're always moving.
So it's their metabolism.
They work hard. Their metabolism's different, and that would be my theory, Pete. What do you think?
So they have to eat.
I think so. They have to eat. Yeah, I mean, it's like they see food. They might as well eat it right then and there because they don't know when their next meal is.
Yeah.
I get that in saltwater, but again, I don't know shit about saltwater, so.
Well, I can tell you that a mahi is the fastest growing fish in the ocean.
That's a fact.
So that's why they are so daggum easy to catch.
What's their growth rate? I mean, I have no idea. I'm just curious.
I think like 10% of their body weight per week or per month, something like that.
Per week?
Hang on. Let's look that up.
That's insane.
Hey, they grow faster than crappie do, Lee.
That's insane. They grow 10% of their body weight in a week.
I want to say I think it's per month maybe, but
even a month.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Mahi are considered a good eating
fish. The dumbest fish in the ocean. Fastest growing and the dumbest fish in saltwater.
They grow lengths of over 4 feet in the first year of life and over 6 feet in 4 years.
Yeah.
So
Boys, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to call mahi dumb this and dumb that, but you ain't never been out there with, let's say, 15 mahi behind the boat, and they won't touch a damn thing you throw at them. You won't call them dumb then, I promise you.
Yeah, I've never been in that situation.
So when I was working with Corey Oakley and the boys from the Wildlife
fish in ocean.
on the hybrids on Lake Norman, it was similar, but nowhere near as extreme. So when they put the fingerlings in, the fish we were catching that were 2 1/4, 2.5 pounds were like 2.5-year-old fish.
So that's about 16 inches roughly, right?
Right, because they were growing like, it was something crazy. It wasn't that, but it was like 1.5 inches every 2 to 3 months. Is what they were doing. But once they hit 16 inches, they grow like 1 inch a 6 months, but they put on a pound.
Yeah.
Which makes sense from the fish we see on Lake Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I thought it just blew my mind how a fish can go from a fingerling to a 16.5-inch fish or so in 2 years.
This one goes 1.3 to 2.7 inches in a week.
I actually, to back you up on that too, I think that was what was said then. And I think after more research, I think they realized that it was different between male and female. I think it was the female that grew a lot faster, and the male was the one that slowed down considerable to that rate you speak of right there.
Yeah.
So that's interesting as crap, because you think about the fish we catch, say, February to March.
Uh-huh.
The big fish are the females.
That's right. Yep. No doubt.
Everybody always says, we got these little bull males up here in the river and stuff. And
yeah, it's weird with mahi because they got this big, it's like they're shaped much differently. Like It's not like a female bass and a male bass, catfish, striper. These fish look completely a bull dolphin looks completely different than a female. Female's got a big round. It's got a rounded head, and the male's got this big block head. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, JR, side note.
Yes, sir.
How do I type on this thing?
You really don't. You don't.
Okay.
I mean,
Because all I see over here is it says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you.
do you have a thing that says comments? You tell him, Pete. You probably got the same.
So
thing.
I'm on my laptop. So there's a comment thing in the very top right corner. You see private chat and then comments, I think it is.
All mine's on the bottom. It just says
right.
chat. I just can't see the comments, I guess.
Yeah, so click on comments and you should get the comments that pop up in order right there.
Lee's probably on his phone, ain't he?
I am.
Yeah, I'm on my phone now. I can't see comments either.
Yeah, I think comments might be rough on phone. Well, laptop, you see them right there.
They come
But
in.
so, what do you guys do that keeps you in the right state of mind? That keeps you fishing? That keeps you going back? Like, there's got to be something that.
I know I'm
got
good. I know what I do works. So if I stay with it, eventually it will.
You know, so JR, I think it's a lot to do with the word that a lot of folks are afraid to use: confidence.
Yep.
It's what
I'm
you're confident in
Yep.
what you're doing.
You know how I look at it. I know I learned a long time ago that I can't predict the outcome. When I go fishing, that's what everybody gets. They have these high hopes. They either have high hopes or they have no confidence. And if they have no confidence, then they probably quit fishing. They've already done. They're not even. But if you continue to fish, it means you have confidence. But you have to balance confidence with you knowing that you cannot control the outcome. So there's always a chance you're going to get skunked. You have to be okay with getting skunked. That's how you keep going back, is you learn to be okay with it.
A real fisherman learns via experience. A dang weekend warrior learns via phone calls.
Yeah. So I think it goes back to like a lot of what I do at work. I think I approach it kind of the same way with being a fireman and being a fishing guide. Is street smarts always outdo, like Pete said, phone calls, book smarts, whatever you want to call it.
Uh-huh.
There's a difference in being cocky and confident. When
Cocky
you
is
don't
confident.
think so- when you
Cocky
don't
is
think
confident
so enough that it works.
Hockey is confident. There you go.
Pete Hilliard. Pete, did you hear that?
Oh, I heard it.
Say
I
that,
commented
say
right
that,
back.
say that,
Cocky,
say that
confident,
louder,
confident.
Lee, so they can hear you in the back.
I might be
Lee, say
cocky,
that
but I
louder
can,
so they can hear you in the back.
Hey,
There's a difference in being cocky and confident.
I might
There
be
you go.
cocky, but I can back it up.
I won't
See what
argue
I'm
him on
saying,
that.
Lee?
That's
Hey, Lee, he didn't hear you in the back.
Oh, we
No, I
heard you
won't
very
argue him
well.
on that.
We just can't
I
hear you
won't
from
argue
over
on
your
that.
damn mouth right now, really.
I think that
What'd he say?
we all have to learn how to control our emotions. I think we want
Fuck
to make
that.
excuses.
I knew that
We
was
want to
coming.
make excuses. Like when I get skunked, I want to say it was because of this or that. It was
The
because
The
moon.
water was too cold. The bait sucked. The sun was out. The moon fucked it up.
Ask TJ. He's commenting
Yes.
right here. What are the excuses? You know, we hear them all. Go ahead and list them out. List them out, TJ. Come on, list them out. What are they? Anyways, go ahead.
I'm just saying
My
you
big
got to
excuse when I'm
play the
fishing by
game,
my,
not the name.
I like
sorry,
to,
I'm sorry,
believe
go
it or
ahead,
not,
Russ.
I do like to fish by myself, especially when I was fishing freshwater. When I go to Tennessee, honestly, it always seemed like I caught more fish when I was by myself because I got a game plan and I stuck to it. When I got somebody on the boat and I'm really wanting to catch fish, I just feel like that's why I'll never be a guide.
I
just
think
feel
it's the
like
exact
pressure.
opposite. I think it's the exact opposite.
But that's just
That's
for
good.
me, you know.
I think it's the exact opposite. Like when I go fishing with a guide trip, I do the same thing routine because I know it works. I catch sometimes more and better fish because I'm like, I've always wanted to try XYZ. Prime example, that trip I had on Lake Wiley 2 weeks ago this Friday. There's been a flat on Lake Wiley that I've wanted to drag baits on for 2 or 3 years, and I've never done it because I've never fished it. So I don't take a guide party there because I don't know if it'll work or not. I went there, it'll be 2 weeks ago Friday, and had one of the best days fishing I've ever been. I took guide parties there afterwards because it worked. But I'd have never fished that with a guide party.
Yeah.
On a guide trip, I ask one question starting out right away. Do you boys want to fish for something big, or do you want to
Or a
fish for
lot.
numbers?
Yep.
And normally the answer is big. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take you guys to a place where, we might get X amount of bites. We're likely to get a 20+ inch fish.
Right.
We're likely to get a striper, but
Yep.
but I can't make them bite. I know they're there. It's just a matter of, when they want to turn on. So we'll fish there. We'll catch a few. If we don't catch them, we'll go to plan B. So that's the way I lay it out every trip usually.
And
Do
that's
you
the
ever
biggest
get
thing about
intimidated?
being-
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead,
Lee. Go
Dave.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you ever get intimidated by yourself? Do you ever let yourself intimidate you? Have you ever went fishing? And especially with social media today, I got this brand new school. I've caught a bunch of big catfish. So now, like when I go fishing, I'm like, I feel like I have to, like I'm in competition with myself. Like, hey, buddy, you got to live up to your reputation here. But
So I'm going to tell you this, and Lee can probably back me up on this as well. Lake Norman, we have a pretty tight network, okay? There's a handful of us fish quite regular. There's some that fish, every so often. But the guys that do fish Norman regular, like myself and Lee, you can weed out, and, lack of better words here, you can quickly weed out the bullshit in conversation. When someone is lying to you right away. I mean, when they tell you something, you can just tell right away that what you're telling me is full of shit, So you learn via experience who to trust, who not to trust, So a lot of it stems with the information you're getting on the water, and then kind of formulating your own plan, and then kind of putting the two together to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and I to extend kind of what Pete said, I mean, I've done the same thing everybody else has done. I've texted people and been like, I think you caught some fish, yada, yada, yada. And 9 times out of 10, and Pete can back me up on this, I don't ever say, where'd you catch them? I ask, what was the water temperature? And what time of day did you catch them? That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Because I can go off my own experience, so to speak, on where I can find fish in those water temperatures. Me and Pete talked a lot the other day fishing, and a long time ago, I used to think, because I grew up fishing these stripers on Lake Norman. The stripers and the hybrids are two completely different animals. Stripers, if they went, say, in the state park in October, great place to fish in October for stripers. You could pull planer boards from the front to the back, and the fish were going to be somewhere between the last bend and the front. You could go back the next week, and they were within 100 yards of where they were. The hybrids, not at all. They might be in the front of the park today and in Stumpy Creek tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
My biggest thing is water temperature and how you caught them. I don't have to know.
They're not on those points at night on red fins either.
They will be.
That was my favorite thing to do with the stripers, and I thought that
The
the
hybrids
hybrids would do that,
but they do it
not like the stripers did though.
Oh, they do. They do.
Yeah.
Me and
I
Pete
used to catch them every year up there on the
March on
the points upriver.
Oh, and red.
I used to wear them out up on the
Red
points
fins.
upriver on red fins. Yeah, I hadn't been able to do that since I used to do it I could go up there and I'd be limited out in 30 minutes on stripers.
Mid-Lake points in March.
Yes.
Mid-Lake points in March. No, you can do it right now at night.
Yeah,
Mid-Lake points in March.
That's early. See, you weren't doing that in March with the stripers.
Oh, I agree. That's what I meant.
Later.
That's
It was
what,
April.
right. That's what I said earlier. I mean, it's a completely different fish.
So it's
Those
you have to
hybrids
go
up the
earlier
river at a cooler
with the
temperature
hybrids.
than the stripers did.
Wow.
So I was always a believer with water temperature, with striper and everything else. And, I've commented on this show many times what I look for. There was a time where I felt like the water temperature when it's about 47 is too cold for hybrids. But you know what? That dang hybrid tournament that I fished a few years back that I won, that was 44-degree water I caught them bitches in. 44. And that blew anything away as far as any rule I've ever had with water temperature correlating with the hybrids.
Well, that's just like, I think that was the same year that JR took the video of me, and I caught all them fish right in front of the ramp.
Uh-huh.
I was catching fish in 40.
That's the same exact day. Yep, same day.
44-degree water, but they were 60 foot deep.
Yep.
Which was against everything you done that day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you finished.
exactly.
You finished in the money. What was you second, third?
I don't know. I can't
10,
win it.
I don't-
I can finish in the top 5 every time, but I cannot win that thing.
This is your year this year, man. It's coming up. What's happening?
Really,
But yeah, no. So you call 44-degree water down deep, and I call 44-degree water in the back of State
18
Park.
foot,
You know,
right?
yeah, 18. Well, I'll say 18 foot. You know, anywhere from 10 to 20 foot down in 35 foot of water. That's what it was.
Yeah. I was fishing 60 foot of water, catching them 44, 45 foot deep.
Yeah.
And we wasn't 3 miles apart.
Pretty much, exactly. Yep. That's it.
So,
And yet
If
there were
I
boats.
wasn't in the saltwater fishing,
That was the the hybrid striped bass challenge tournament, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
February of like 01. Or sorry, 21. 20,
yeah, it would have been the year before this one.
Yeah, 21.
I done good on this one.
I was one fish away from finishing any money, but you know everyone's struggled that day pretty much.
If I'd have had one more fish, I'd have took it.
That's right.
But
A
I
lot of
only
guys
weighed
would have. A lot of guys would have one more fish. That's for damn sure. Yep, that's how she goes, man. I know some guys that hadn't caught a single damn fish in a tournament, but you know.
There's a lot of people that keep coming back fishing that tournament that hadn't weighed a fish yet.
Yeah, all it takes is
I
one, man. All it takes is one, you know.
I have been lucky enough to place in. I think the worst I ever done was 7, and that was the year me and Allie fished it. But yeah,
Gotcha.
How'd y'all do? Doing good. On
Grab me a beer real
what
quick.
was the game plan this morning?
Live bait.
Live bait.
Live
you're,
bait.
you're one of the few that actually pulled live bait.
I am. Caught all ever fish within 400 yards where he's standing.
What kind of rods did you catch them on?
we done a video
Caught
last
30
week.
fish in an hour.
Wow.
I didn't catch the first fish till 12:41.
They're obviously on a time of day bite. Or
I fished the same fish this morning, and we caught a crappie that was about 15 inches, and then we come back to them because I couldn't find nothing nowhere else. I said, "Well, just go sit on them fish and see if they'll eat."
I think that's
Finally.
smart, man. You live in.
Yep.
I caught half them fish on cut bait.
I think we did play that last week, didn't we?
We did it.
I caught half them fish on cut bait, no joke, because they were so lethargic and so slow to bite. I was putting baits on their nose and they wouldn't eat, and I was like, hell with it. I'll just cut one and put it down there and see what happens.
Boom.
That big fish that Allie won the kids division with, come on, that was the first fish that he cut bait.
Nice.
I'm
much rather
a
catch
big
them on
fan of cut bait.
I'm a huge fan.
Mhm.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about all this crap, man. You don't.
Well, it's
Oh,
not-
is my
I cut
bait's
mine-
not seasoned. My bait's
I cut,
dying.
I cut mine fresh out of tank. I take him out of tank just like I was going to put him on the hook, but I cut it.
It don't get no better than that. It don't get.
And
no
I
better.
really think when those fish are lethargic, especially bigger fish, when those fish are lethargic, that fish is more apt to eat. And I mean, again, we're talking about 45, 50-degree water. That fish is more, in my experience, that fish is more applicable to eat a piece of cut bait the size of my thumb right there
Mhm.
than eating a herring that's, you know.
You know, Lee, so I've
Right.
preached over the years, and I know you heard this conversation with me many times where that time of year, you got to use a small little baits about the size of a half a dang finger, you know, so cut bait
Let's
definitely.
go back to High Rock when we all got beat by crap.
God damn, by bass minnows.
Yeah.
Wow.
So one of the
That
very
was a
first
$20,000 tournament.
one of the very first dropper tournaments I ever won, it was on Lake Watery, and it was like the middle of January, year-wise, like 2003. I mean, long ago. Me and a buddy are actually out there fishing. You know, there was a hot bite several weeks ago, but it got cold, like real cold. And we were on fish all day long, nothing. And I dropped a damn crappie minnow down there, caught a striper about 7.5, 8 pounds. Only damn fish dropped his bills amongst 25 boats, you know. So a crappie minnow will do it for you sometimes.
Oh,
Do you
100%.
ever shoot docks in a tournament, in a crappie tournament? I mean, I just feel like I could get in a crappie tournament and just kick some ass just by shooting some docks.
Depends
Every
on the time
lake-
of year.
Every lake
If
is a little
I'm on a lake that's got docks, that's especially if it's like Lake Norman, where it's like primary like source of cover is
different. I'm
docks.
just kidding.
I'm hammering them, brother. I mean, I'm not gonna have a problem catching my limit in a tournament. It ain't ours.
word on the street is all these people that has to fish these tournaments like they got something to prove got little dicks. I don't know.
Damn.
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. I think.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So when you fishing your next tournament, Wes?
Yeah.
I don't fish tournaments.
Wes, you can
I don't
always
fish
tell the
tournaments.
ones. You can always tell the ones you're talking about because they don't post pics. They won't even let you know they went fishing. You got some people out there that it's such an ego trip with them when they go fishing. They can't come back. You won't even know they went. Like I guarantee you, out of our circle, I bet we can't count how many times people, everybody we know, Michael Walker, Scott, Hovis, Shane Reel, Daniel Skip, everybody we know. I bet you they've been to Tennessee and gotten skunked, and we never knew a thing about it.
So let me confess to you guys a little something here. I know, and Lee, you got the same friends, I'm sure, on your Facebook. There's a very small group of people that will never post any photos that they catch any fish, but yet they will quickly look at a dang photo you post and try to figure out where you're fishing at. I have a small group, I'm going to say 6 or 8 people that I will block from seeing anything I post on Facebook in the winter months.
Yeah. They do it.
I'm talking about the people that don't post, not because they don't want you to. Just because they're embarrassed.
Shay, I went to Tennessee. You asked my wife; she sitting right
I've
beside
seen
me.
your videos.
Yeah.
When Wes
Yeah, well, I didn't catch a damn thing.
He mans up. He goes live. He's like, "Hey, I got my ass kicked."
There's the bridge in the background. There you go.
You can roll through my Facebook. I've got pictures and all kind of stuff. I got my ass
went up
kicked
to
today.
Clark. The main reasons I went to salt water. Last time I went to Middle Tennessee 2 years ago, I fished that raggedy son of a bitch for 5 days and didn't get a fucking bite. And I told her, and I did a video. I said, listen, all y'all people talk about Tennessee's the easy button. I said, show me where that son of a bitch is so I can push it. Because I've been up here for 5 days and I'll pull planer boards till the fucking paint wore off of them. And I ain't got a bite. I said, fuck this. I'm going to salt water.
Well, it depends. Tennessee depends on kind of what you're going to do. Like, Wes, you've caught more trophy fish in Tennessee than some of the guides in Tennessee. If you're up there targeting just trophy fish, yeah, you can go to Tennessee and not get a bite.
Yeah, that's right.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
You know, but
I
like
went up
JR
there and
said,
fished 2 days and not got a bite, and then finally been like, all right, I'm gonna go ride the concrete this evening.
But like JR just said though, Lee, it ain't a lot of it's ego. You know, I don't care when I go fishing. If I catch them, fine. If I don't, fine.
It's because they get it. It's emotional. It's emotional for them. That's really why they don't do it. It's because they're feeling emotions like anger and embarrassment.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, you know, when I first started fishing Dorman way back in the wonder years, man, there were so many damn days that I got skunked or came close to skunk. I can't say I got skunked, but it's always a catfish or a bass would say the skunk, you know. Those days you learn. You learn what to do, what not to do. And so you got so many damn folks, not calling out any names, but you know, obviously y'all know who. Not saying they're here, but I'm saying in general, that don't want to put the legwork in at all. I mean, it's gimme. Tell me where, you know, they don't want to pay the dues at all. I mean, I've rode that lake from the bottom to the top on some days, and that, you know, that burns a lot of
last
gas,
tournament. Me and you both know where we were fishing. JR knows where I was fishing.
Wow.
He seen me. Me and you had already talked. We had been fishing the same group of fish, theoretically, for a week. All 3 of the fish I weighed, I caught in 15 minutes of each other in the first 30 minutes of the tournament.
That we had went before that tournament and pre-fished, and we had marked some fish, and we had several spots to fish. And that second spot we hit is when we saw you, Lee. We had went there. We had marked fish the day. We'd marked the fish, you know, before the tournament, and that's me and Spivey was like, "Hey, man, these fish ain't biting." Scott Perry told me, he said, "If you find a crap load of fish, stay on them. They will bite eventually. Stay."
That's
on
why
them.
when you come
And
down there at 11:30,
went down
12
there
o'clock,
an
I
hour.
was still there. That's why when you come down there at 11:30 or 12 o'clock, I was still there. That's where I started.
Okay.
But like if y'all can remember on that tournament, the day before it was 65 degrees.
Yeah.
That morning it was 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came through that, and the wind blew
That
too,
cold
right?
front.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the worst time of, but you know what? I kind of like it. I know a lot of people complain because the bite's so crappy and it's the coldest part of the year. It's the worst, absolute worst time to have a tournament. But with that said, it's kind of the best time to have one.
I agree with that because that's when you can kind of.
Separate real fishermen from people that's just doing.
Yeah.
So my world is going to
Exactly.
be different.
Exactly.
Fishermen from wannabe fishermen.
but here's
that's
the
when you
thing
separate
also,
the men from the women.
We're talking about tournament also,
God
but
damn,
you
the
also at
chicken
the
truck
same
stinks
time,
like shit.
you want a lot of guys to come out, so
Right.
yeah. But
And I understand why they don't do the tournament in like April because I mean they're going to do it on a Saturday. There's already going to be 20
Damn,
boats
hell
in
yeah.
the river. So you're going to put
Hell
20
yeah.
more in the river?
yeah,
You hear that?
I mean, it ain't
It's
going to be
gonna
no
be
fun.
unsafe,
Ain't nobody going
honestly.
to catch no fish in either because it goes back to what we were talking about a minute ago. You
Yep.
put 40 boats in that river and them fish are going to sit down and lock down.
But Lee, obviously you know where to go.
Well,
when-
I got a question. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
God damn.
But no, the reason I don't, the reason I don't believe that, Lee, is because, and there again, it may be different cement fishing. When you up there at that dam, I've seen 15 boats at Melton Hill Dam, and never fucking body catches a fish and goes up there and fishes.
All right, how deep is the water at Melton Hill Dam?
I've watched. I mean, now it may be different. It may be different on the dam with the current. I've watched 15, but we counted them one morning. 15 boats up there at Melton Hill Dam, and everybody caught fish that went up there and pitching gizzards. Everybody.
I'll agree with that all day. How deep's the water at Melton Hill or Fort Loudon Dam?
Deep. Just say deep. Just say deep.
At Melton Hill Dam, I think the deepest part is about 15, 16 foot, maybe 18 foot.
All right, so we're fishing
right
4
at
to
the base
8 foot. We're fishing 4 to 8 foot of water. The last probably 2 miles, mile and a half. Once you come by Lyle Creek, most other than holes, most of the river is maybe
It's
8
just-
foot deep.
Yeah, there's a lot of places. I mean, you're talking on the sides, like in the middle of the river, it's little as 2 foot deep,
Yeah,
4 foot deep.
I mean it's just super skinny water. Like
Nobody
goes above I-40 because they don't know where they're at. I'll run my boat all the way to the dam because I fished it since I was 5 years old. But
I tried to go to the dam
skinny
once.
water.
But we're
my
literally
prop.
fishing that. Most of the water we're fishing is 8 foot or less. And when you put 40 boats running up through there, them fish, you can watch them. They'll suck.
Hey,
to
I'll
the
tell you
bottom.
this. I'll tell you this, Peter. There was several years in a row there. Me and Lee, I'd beat Lee up there. At least a couple of years, I beat him up there.
Oh, ain't no doubt. I bought my
Anyways.
bait. He went and caught his.
And
Damn.
he would he'd be working his damn tail off, man, trolling. Like it's what they call surfing. He'd be trolling fast. He'd be going with the current. He'd be going fast as hell. Trolling.
That's the way I
planerboards.
fish tail races.
Yeah, that's
the way I
basically
fish.
what we're fishing. Basically, we're probably within a mile or two of it.
Probably
of
half
tail
a
race.
mile. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
at 40, you're half a mile from the dam.
Man, me and Spivey'd be down there. We'd be done limited out by 8 o'clock in the daggone morning. We'd look over there. Lee be working his ass off. Like, man,
I
this
always
anchor
come
up,
through,
no
though.
cut bait, dude.
I always came through.
He was trying to show off. He just wanted to show off from his
Yeah.
clients. He wanted to
Hell,
catch
you
a
can't even
troll.
pull a board up there on a Saturday no more.
He didn't want to show his clients how easy it was. He wanted,
You want to know
wanted
how many
act like it
times
was
I have
hard.
ever fished that river? One time.
Why?
One time. That's it.
Why?
Because I have better place to fish than to put up with a dang, a chain gang up there full of dang
Dude,
boats.
there ain't nobody up
Hey,
there.
hey, 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 watch the chain
Right.
game now.
No.
Everybody else.
I'm talking about chain gang as far as
Peter.
guys dropping fucking anchors and shit. That's the chain gang.
Those
Yeah,
those
you can't
guys
pull
are
board.
lazy.
Yeah.
Those Lake Norman fishermen are lazy. You can go upriver. You can be the first one up there. And when I say the first one up there, I mean before anybody knows the bite's even going on up there. You can be up there.
I ain't
And
going up
if
there.
you
I'm
get up
going
there
to
at
dang
daylight,
Lake and
it
catch
doesn't
a
matter
crap.
what day you go. If you get up there at daylight, you're going to be the only boat there. But them guys don't start showing up till like 7:30 in the morning.
Yep.
You already limited out by 8. Hell, it's
Yep.
time to go.
But that
Hey,
goes
Pete.
back to that phone call. If you're up there catching the hell out of them by yourself and you ain't calling nobody, you're going to be by yourself.
Unless you do
Hey,
go
JR.
live like I did one year, and you have a million boats up there the next day. What's up?
Joe, we need to get Pete and Lee. They need to come down here to the Kiowee River about the first week in March.
They'd love that.
God,
It's about
dude,
it's about like Norman, but it's clear water. It's basically like if you took, you know how clear the river section is on the Tennessee River or the Clinch River. You know how it's got that turquoise. It's very clear. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just like that up there where Wes is talking about, except it's like Lake Norman hybrids is what you're catching. It's awesome.
Nice.
You know my favorite time to fish the river on Norman?
March.
March, when we get that first huge ass rain and it turns to muddy, just Campbell's soup, chocolate milk. I will go up there and wax their ass by myself, and that's why the pictures you're seeing are just trees
on cutbait, right?
That's right.
Yeah, 100% on cutbait.
I tell you what.
You mean no cow pasture in the background?
No cow pasture, no I-40, none of that.
Some of my most successful fishing trips, as far as numbers and size, have been in muddy water.
Size for sure.
Tell you this, some of my most successful fishing trips have been not worrying about any fucking report, going out there and making my own damn report.
That goes back to the experience we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, because if you have experience, you know where to anchor. If you don't have experience, you're more likely to troll. And that's why you'll get a lot of people say muddy water sucks, is because they don't know where to anchor and cut bait for them, so they just troll. And trolling live bait in muddy water sucks.
I will take that muddy water, especially if you know where you can anchor in some sand. I'll take that all day long.
But you won't take it if, let's say, you can only troll.
Nah.
You wouldn't like it then, right?
Nah.
Let me tell you this. So
I don't troll in muddy water up there.
Anytime I see pretty dingy off-color water in the wintertime, I get pretty excited because that's where pulling artificial absolutely does really good as well.
And that's why I think it comes back to a reaction bite.
Because they can't see that it's not a real bait.
But they feel the vibration, especially on the Alabama rigs. You got paddle tails, you got the spinner spinning. Plus, muddy water, we all know muddy water warms up a little bit quicker than clear water.
You got that.
So that, in my opinion, pulls the bait to the dingier water. And I think you put those three together and Pete will burn your ass.
Yeah, you said that right.
I mean, there ain't nothing around it.
You said that right.
I've caught the few big fish that I've caught in the wintertime, in the dead winter. Then an old guy, and y'all probably heard this before, it's probably a little bit common knowledge, but when if I'm going to pull boards in the morning, I'll pull boards till the sun gets high. When the sun gets high, I don't pull boards no more. A lot of people don't agree with that and pull them all fucking day. But in clear water, my experience, I've never caught no fish pulling a board when the damn sun got high. But in the mornings, in the wintertime, I'd always put my boards, I don't care what lake, where I'm fishing, what river I'm fishing. You put them boards on the side of that water that the sun's hitting first, you're going to get a bite quicker than you will on the other side, because that's the water that's going to warm up first.
And I think that's where the bait goes. And that's why those fish are there.
That's why,
Get your bite.
Yep.
I think the reason that they go deep, once the sun gets up in the sky, they say it's because they're so light sensitive. Their eyes are so light sensitive. So they go deep.
That's correct.
But that's what the books say, and that's what I've always believed. But I'm also open to, that might not be all the way true.
I don't think it's all the way true.
Is it
because if that's the case, you could go to the river in spring and not catch a fish because they would leave, right?
Yeah, if they were that light sensitive. But the current, I guess, breaks up the light penetration. I don't know. Maybe reflects it.
Have you ever floated the river and pitched baits behind those blowdowns?
I've floated that river. Not had any success on that river doing that, but I've done that on Road Hiss and had some success doing it on Road Hiss.
We need to go for a ride this spring.
Hey, JR,
I'd love to.
You remember where I was fishing when I bought that boat last year? I told you I needed to take you up to Tougaloo.
Yeah.
Every fish we caught was right in front of a blowdown.
Yeah.
Pulling herring in front of them. Every fish we caught.
You're right.
I even told Rich, I said, watch this shit. Every time we get in front of a blowdown, and every fish we caught came right in front of a blowdown.
I think those hybrids
got in front of it, they nail it.
Those hybrids, everybody thinks that they're out there in the current. They're constantly moving. If there is current, then they don't have to be constantly moving. The water's going to go over their gills. They can set an ambush. And
You
I
know,
think
when you
that
go-
they get behind those current breaks like the trees and stuff.
You know when you go under I-40?
Yeah.
On the left, there's a pontoon that has nothing but 2 tunes and some plywood on top of it.
Okay.
About 50, 60 yards above it on the left, it's a huge blowdown. If I pull baits down that river with them pulling water twice and don't catch nothing, I go anchor right in front of it and I crappie fish. I put either a cork or a split shot on a treble hook, pitch it in the tree like I'm crappie fishing, let it blow out of there, then you'll catch 15 to 20 fish in that blowdown.
You know what's
drop
funny
down
is
the river 100 yards and mimic it and do it again.
you know what's funny, Lee, is there are going to be like 2 people that watch this show in like 5 years, and they're going to be like, Lee Huffman, I can't believe you're giving away. Blah, I can't believe you telling people.
I ain't worried
The
about
fact of the matter is, man, is there's a million places like that on the
Yeah.
lake. All you got to do is have a little confidence in yourself and just go out there and find them. And it's not that hard to find those.
It's really
spots
not.
like that.
Yep.
It's really not.
They're
I've
everywhere.
noticed
They're
when
really
they're
everywhere.
if the water's coming over the dam up there at the spillway, you're wasting your time trying to pull boards because there's too much current and them fish are not. They might come out there and feed for a second or whatever, but those fish are in those blowdowns. And I can go up there and take my trolling motor, ease down the river, and just like I'm bass fishing, I mean, that's all I'm doing is pitching baits behind a blowdown. And we'll pop 2 real quick. I'll crank the big motor. I'll ease right back up in front of that blowdown. I'll drop my anchor and drop to where I can pitch to it. And I'll sit there and catch 15 to 20 fish.
That's what me and Spivey do. Yeah, when they're running a bunch of water, we anchor up within casting distance of the bank, and we hit every one of those blowdowns, and we wear them out on the bank right there around them blowdowns.
100%.
Except JR, he casts mussels up there. Not no shad, mussels.
No, we cast shad that we
I can't
caught.
say I've never seen him cast a mussel.
I've never in my life used a mussel, ever. Not for hybrids. I mean,
I
I'm sure
have.
when I was a kid, I probably might have used them for catfish, but I've never tried them for hybrids ever.
Terry
I'm not saying I
Maxwell.
wouldn't.
Terry Maxwell kicked my ass one morning. I was anchored within 50 yards of him. He kicked my ass one morning. I fished live bait, cut bait, same situation. Heavy current. He kicked my ass one morning in Mouth of Wild Creek.
Damn.
And he was
What
fishing nothing
what
but
time of the
mussels.
year was it?
April.
Oh, it was in April. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had fished blowdowns. I mean, I probably left there catching 8 to 12 fish. He texted me later and said he had caught like 35. And he was fishing the mouth of Lyle Creek with mussels on a Carolina rig right on the bottom. I went back
All
up
right,
there
Scott.
the next day with a guy's trip.
Scott Perry
Done the
watching
same thing.
tonight.
He just now started commenting.
Is Scott
Just
Perry
now.
watching tonight?
Yeah, he just now commented, Wes, just now.
I'm going to go pee, get a drink, and I'll be right back.
Okay, Lee.
All right.
Scott Perry said crayfish will kill them hybrid and stripers. I tell you what, I've caught some good catfish on Lake Norman and cut their bellies open, and they be full of crayfish in, well, we call them crawdads. You're a Yankee. But yeah, I've caught some. The biggest catfish I've ever caught has been in February on Lake Norman, and that was back when I used to clean them and eat them, and their bellies would be full of crawdads, man. So I 100% believe that you catch fish on crawdads. I know I've heard of guys taking burlap sacks and filling the burlap sacks full of crawdads and using them for chum. Like putting them in the burlap sack alive, tying a brick to them, throwing them in the water, and coming back and fishing them the next day. They're still alive in the burlap sack, but fish are just all around that burlap sack, tearing it apart, trying to get to those crawdads. That's like a delicacy for a lot of fish, not just catfish, but everything else.
You know, if I could get into freshwater, I'm not saying I won't never, but if I was still into freshwater fishing, if I could get into it again, I'd come up to Lake Norman to show y'all how to catch big fish. I don't understand
Bullshit.
why y'all can't catch big fish.
Bullshit. Lake Norman, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Lake Norman will humble you.
Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you right now that Lake Norman is probably one of the toughest lakes in the damn area. No doubt about it.
It's very, very tough.
That's what they've said. That's what they've said about every fucking lake I've ever fished, and I've caught big fish on every one I've ever put a hook in.
It's not a river. It's not a river within a mile or two of the dam. It's
hey, I'm talking about lakes too. I've caught big fish in Hartwell,
Oh
Russell,
man,
Tennessee,
we need to put some money
Clarksville.
up on this bet right here. Wes, come to Lake
Well,
Norman.
hey,
If
Pete,
we catch
Pete, I'll
4
tell you what,
hybrids over.
Pete, you like Hartwell. You bring your money to Hartwell. You bring your money anywhere you want to in Tennessee, Clarksville, and I'll bet you any amount of money you want. I'll bet a year of your salary I'll catch bigger fish than you.
I mean, we're talking about Lake Norman, not no dang Hartwell.
Oh, fuck Norman.
Let's make a bet.
You're talking about Lake Norman. I'm challenging Lake Norman.
Let's make it for like
I'm just running my mouth. I don't know.
$50 or
You
something.
gotta quit running the damn mouth. Blue lights behind you. Blue lights. Shut your mouth.
Scott Perry said, "West, big fish on Hartwell's 9 pounds."
No, we're not. Exactly. Hello. Somebody called.
It's crazy, man. How
I just can't get into freshwater fishing no more. There's nothing about it interests me.
It's
in
not
no
bougie
shape, form, or
enough.
fashion. That's why I don't even.
What? It's because
I
you're
don't
a
even
rich
know why I
business
bought that
owner.
boat.
You're a rich
No,
guy.
it's got nothing
that
to do with
you got
that.
a place at the beach.
Wes,
It's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with that.
accomplished about anything
These
you
reservoirs
can do.
are for us meal workers.
Wes, you've accomplished about anything you can do freshwater striper fishing. I'll give you that all day long, dude. I'll give you that all day long.
Stop it. He doesn't need to anymore blow his head up anymore.
It's true.
I'm just
I mean, it's the truth.
It's true.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lee. I mean, I appreciate you saying that, but there again, I have had a lot of help. I was lucky. I was blessed by getting with the right people. I watched people that knew what they were doing, and I listened. You know, what is that old saying? You got to be teachable. You know, and when I first started going to
I ain't
Tennessee,
teachable.
I didn't really go for the guide. I just wanted to go. I just wanted to see if they pretty much did the same things we did down here. Todd Asher showed me things about cut baiting that blew my mind. You know, then when I came back home, I went down here to the tail race below my house and started catching fish in that tail race. And I blew this motherfucker up down here too, because somebody showed me how to do it, and I did it. You know, and I didn't catch fish every time I went fishing, but I did have a lot of help. I had a lot of people. I had a lot of guidance. That's why I'm willing to help people. I like helping people because a lot of people help me. You know,
Wes, I think what sets you apart, Wes, is that instead of doing something a lot to get a result, like you did it
to have fun,
to be your best self, the best version of you. That's why you were so successful. And everyone else goes fishing for the results. You know,
I've known Anthony Johnson since I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And Anthony Johnson's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Anthony's a damn good fisherman.
He is. Hey, and believe it or not, don't let him tell you no different. Anthony Johnson loves that artificial bait too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But Anthony's a hell of a fisherman. He really is. And Anthony helped me a lot when I was coming up.
Yeah. But, you know, Pete Malik, I went fishing with him and Keith, and that fucked me up. I said, shit, I got to go. Hell, I had to come back home and buy a damn boat.
Right.
And a bunch of damn reels.
Yeah, hey. hell, I bet I fit 50. Listen, I guarantee you. Well, my wife's here.
She's next to you. Your wife's next to you. Don't say the exact amount. Don't do it. Shh.
No, I've spent every bit of $15,000 or more just on reels. You know, and then that's not counting line and tackle and bait and hotel bill. Pete, do you realize how much fucking money you cost me?
Ain't my fault. You signed the damn waiver, didn't you?
I did. But you know, Pete helped me. Pete showed me how to rig. I never even thought about rigging a fucking ballyhoo. I said, okay, did you buy them already rigged? Pete said, yeah, but it's a whole lot better if you rig them yourself. And not to mention, they're a lot cheaper. So I watched him. I learned how to rig ballyhoo. And it's just like I said, and I've told this story like 100 times, but I'm gonna say it again. One of the best feelings I've ever had in fishing was when I went offshore. Me and Anson was out there, and my first hookup, my first fish was a sailfish, hit a ballyhoo that I rigged myself, and that was just like.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, you know, like Wes says, there is no better feeling taking your own damn boat, your own damn shit out there fishing, and you have a damn good day.
I'd say that probably 20% of my guide trips in the last 2 years have been from fishermen that fish either on Lake Norman or Lake Wiley, and they're like, dude, we have watched you kick our ass 15 times, and we just want to
Yep.
get in your boat and see what the hell you do different. And 9 times out of 10, they're fishing too heavy of a line.
Mhm.
That's what I've seen. Their line, and I'm talking on the live bait side of it.
Hey,
But a lot
hey, Lee,
of yes, sir.
Artificial too.
it's it's funny you say that. There's a gentleman down here. He lives in Cornelia, Georgia, and he used to be, well, he still is. He's a great friend of mine now, but his name's Terry McConnell. Terry caught a state record striper, which was 58 or 59 pounds in Hartwell. 4 years later, he broke his own record and caught one 63.5 pounds in Russell. And I read a lot
We had
about
him on the show.
I actually even tried to contact him one time years ago, and we had him on our show. But I never did get in contact with him, so I never did think about it no more. And I started catching a lot of big fish on Russell, and somehow or another my name got around to it. And we started talking on Facebook. Well, long story short, to this day, he's seen all the fish I caught in Tennessee. Terry McConnell will still call me and ask me stuff about Tennessee, what the water's doing, what the fish is doing, where he can find good bait at. And that gives me a big feeling of accomplishment, because he was like my hero in striper fishing when I first started. And now me and him friends today. Somebody like that, of that caliber of a fisherman, calls Wes Rose and wants to know what fish is doing. That kind of tells me I have accomplished something, in this career.
And I guess that's what I was saying at the same time.
Exactly.
Like, if I'm striper fishing on Lake Norman, my main line is 12 pound.
So that's for Scott Perry, by the way. That's for Scott Perry.
9 times out of 10, I'm fishing an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. We don't have trees on Lake Norman, especially down rod fishing. I mean, we have no structure. If you're fishing 80 foot of water,
We got docks and riprap.
if you're fishing 80 foot of water in the winter in the middle of the lake, if you don't break the fish off with your drag, you're going to land it. There's nothing to wrap you can't wrap the fish up in a tree. There's no reason to overpower the fish. And I have found, especially like the days me and Peter talking about that the bite's slower, I have burnt their ass on crappie rods.
Well, you say that,
6-pound
Lee.
test with a
You say
damn
that.
6-pound leader.
You say that, but me and Spivey went out there with freaking like nano line and like 6-pound fluoro leaders that were like 7 foot and freshly caught blueback herring, and we were using 1/0 gamakatsus, and like we were taking all of the stealthy precautionary measures, and we got our asses kicked by a dude that was pulling 20-pound trilene big game with bucktails with no trailer, just some old damn cheap ass bucktails.
What were you
And he
fishing?
was gas trolling bucktails and kicked
What were you
our
fishing?
ass.
Were you fishing live bait?
Gas trolling bucktails.
Yes,
Damn it.
we were fishing live bait. He was gas trolling bucktails with a drift
He
sock.
He was right on the
20-pound
keyed up bait.
trilene, and we over here with damn this going totally ninja on them, like freshly caught bait, 10-foot leaders. I mean, we're going through it all, and
My
so
man's
that
old school. He knows what
sometimes
he's doing.
sometimes that doesn't make a difference.
I think it makes a difference all the time, but I think what
I'm gonna tell
what
you,
you may have
Daniel
run
Skipper-
into was we
Daniel
go back to that
Skipper does
reaction
too.
bite versus a live bait bite.
What I ran into was we left those fish that were down there that were stacked up. We went somewhere else, and we ended up running and gunning all day, and I think that's what killed us.
Well,
Andrew,
Daniel Skipper told me, Wes, he said, every tournament I've ever won, he said, I was using 10 and 12-pound test line. In the wintertime, he said, I never fished nothing heavier than 12-pound test line.
The only time I fish anything heavier than 12 is when I'm in Tennessee or catfishing.
Yep.
But and there again, everybody says I'm wrong, and I understand clear water now because I've never seen water. I didn't know water could get as clear as it does out there in the Gulf where we go fishing. But I'm just not sold on fluorocarbon. I'm sorry. I've been on boats downlining, people using fluorocarbon and regular mono. And
Wes, I'm gonna tell you
if a
this.
fish is hungry, if a fish is That's
He
always
gone.
been my theory.
Nope, he went
Wes.
and came right back.
Yeah, Wes, I'm gonna tell you this. So I thought the same exact thing, but I am sold on fluorocarbon for one purpose only.
Why's that?
If you want to catch a tuna, if you want to target tuna, you got to use fluorocarbon. There ain't no doubt in my mind. That's the only way we caught yellowfin tuna the last couple of years. Fluorocarbon leader, nothing else.
Really?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Because they got them big ass eyes, they can see
Hell
everything
yeah,
in the water.
they are smarter than you think. Occasionally you'll catch one on a wire leader or regular mono, whatever. But man, I tell you what, if you want to target a big blackfin tuna, put a fluorocarbon leader out there, put that bitch way back, he will smack
Put a cedar plug.
Question for you, Peter and Lee. If you were to go fishing right now, let's say you just wanted to go take it old school, stop and get you some minnows, go out there in the evening, maybe bring a light with you, throw a light out, maybe fish on into the night just a little bit. Now that it's getting down into the 50s, it's kind of pleasant out there. And, if you wanted to go do that and target some crappie, where would you guys go? Main lake, creeks, mouths of creeks? Is there a certain depth, certain type of structure?
Of a major creek right now.
Yep.
So
I'd be
mouths of major
Yeah.
creeks, main lake points on some brush.
Main lake points, mouth is kind of correlates the same exact thing. Yes. I'm not going to say every main lake point will hold crappie. It kind of, depends on the layout. If it's a shallow one or a deep one.
Depends on the lake too.
Correct.
The reason I'm asking you all this is because a friend of mine wants to go fishing, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to go minnow fishing for crappie. And I know
What
that
lake you fishing?
he doesn't want to listen to anything I say, so I'm going to get you guys to say it. So that way, because he watches the show, and then that way he can say, "Well, Peter said we should do this."
Lake Norman or Lake Wiley?
So it's going to be what I was going to do anyways, but I'm going to get you guys in take on it. It's probably going to be, oh God, Lake Wiley probably.
I would ride for the first hour. That's just me. I would start just like me and Pete were talking. I wouldn't ride the main channel. Those fish ain't gonna eat. I would ride for the first hour, especially if I know where some brush is that's say 20 foot deep. Not on a main lake point, but maybe like a secondary point going into a creek. I would look at that brush. If it's not producing, just speaking from experience on Wiley right now, there's some bait, not really creeks as much as long coves. The fish are pushing about the first quarter into them. So what I would do is I would spend the first 30 minutes easy with a game plan. Like if I was leaving Buster Boyd, I would go south. The first cove on my right past Camp Thunderbird with the beer store in the back of it. I would go ride that cove if it were me. But
so
then I would leave there and go to Boyd's. There's bait moving back, and the fish are about 75 yards behind them. And I would use a split shot or a Carolina rig. I fish 100% fluorocarbon for sure when I'm down riding on crappies. I fish a 4-pound leader. And I would stay, like I say, the bait's been, say, 150, 200 yards into these coves. Boyd's Cove and the cove right before Crowder's Creek, to be specific. But there's a lot of fish right behind them, about 100 yards behind them.
Okay.
So hear me out on this. I used to be a diehard nighttime crappie fisherman on both Norman and Wiley, both. Okay. And this is about the time of year I would get started. There are two places. There's one place in particular I would fish Norman all the time at night. And I don't care talking about it because I don't even care about night fishing anymore. One of my most favorite nighttime fishing places on Lake Norman was at the mouth of State Park, about 100 yards in. Okay. I would go, so you know where State Park, the mouth is? You get that first little cove that kind of sticks out right in there on the left side, right away, right in the mouth. I would set up right there. And for a couple reasons. Number one, a lot of bait would be right there, but at the same time, it shelters you from all the wind from whichever direction usually. Okay. That was a
I hear you, Perry.
That was a banging spot. Okay.
Now it's dark. Where you're talking about is very dark up there.
Right, that limits your opportunity.
On Wiley, 2 places I'd set up this time of year, and pretty much exactly nails what Lee was talking about, bait moving in the creeks a little bit. The first place would be a little bit inside the mouth of Catawba Creek.
Yeah.
You know where it
That was-
narrows down before Seven Oaks Bridge, right before
I
that.
think honestly, if you were going to fish at night right now, you could go tie up under Seven Oaks Bridge and smoke them. I think you'll have to pick through a lot of small fish.
Yeah.
But I really think if you were to night fish, so to speak, and put a light out, that would probably be one of the first places I'd go. Would be the New Oak Road Bridge
That'd
and
be
Seven.
nice.
Yeah, but I would legit anchor up right before it narrows it down, before the bridge right there, which is what 100,000 yards roughly, right? Give or take.
Nah, it probably ain't
Maybe.
400 yards.
So I would go there. Spot number 2 would be the same thing, about I'd say quarter mile in Crowders Creek when it narrows down there. That's exactly
Same area I was talking about. Yep.
Those are my 2
Scott,
go-to places.
y'all tell Scott to come on the show.
Scott, come on.
Scott wants to so damn bad, man. I
Why
tell
don't you
you.
just come up here and fish with us? We'll fill you damn cooler.
Damn.
He don't want no fish. He don't want no crappie. Maybe if you clean
You know
them
what?
for him.
I don't figure Scott out. He don't know how to fish with no damn crappie.
Hey, I'm
I've
telling
never
you,
in my life seen him catch a crappie.
He don't know it. He might catch one on accident with a fucking trout or something. I don't know.
So I just thought about something that you were talking about, JR, something Pete just said, and something I said the whole time. It's kind of like a transition area. So we're all talking about going to these places that narrow things down.
Mhm.
And all we're doing is catching those fish, trading back and forth. I think maybe that's the answer I want to go with, is you need to be in one of those places that narrow the fish down in a
Fish
transition
are
area.
moving, exactly. Fish moving in and out. That's correct.
Yep.
That's it. Man,
Like
I used
I
to,
gave
I used to have a
Mateo-
lot of. Lee, do you night fish off a crappie?
Not really. I don't
Yeah.
have to, so
Yeah.
I don't.
Exactly. Now, man, I love the hell out of it way back in the day. But it's like anything else, man. You figure them out during the day. There's no need to. I'd rather drink this
Right.
at night than.
Right. I'd rather be at home.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were talking about crappie fishing in the winter earlier on Wiley. The creek me and you still can't think of the name of that's down there in Fort Mill.
Uh-huh.
Dude, I'm
It's
telling
called McKenna Creek.
you.
Oh,
I've drank some of that.
Yeah, it's called McKenna
Um,
Creek.
Dude, I caught some hammers down there this year trolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I was gonna fish a tournament on Wiley in January, February, tournament fishing, not number fishing,
Uh-huh.
I'd troll.
Yeah, I agree with that. But so a couple things you got to think about tournament fishing for crappie, especially wintertime. Certain places in the lake, a lot of times these fish will be on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Overall. Okay. So a lot of times in January, February, you catch those fish on the bottom, they're dead. You bring them up, they're dead, So that's one thing I worry about tournament fishing is the tournament loss as well.
Right.
But that place I was telling you about, the marina, man, I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. That's the one thing about crappie fishing. You might see a picture on my Facebook somewhere from years ago where I'm holding a 215 and a 213. I caught back-to-back casts that came from that spot I'm telling you about.
That's money on Wiley. You can weigh those 2 fish on a crappie tournament in the winter on
to
Wiley,
this
and you're
day-
gonna be in the money.
To this day, I have not caught a 3-pound crappie, but I've hit 215 3
Copper
times.
Rose.
I've never caught a 3-pound crappie.
Yeah.
I've been that, like you say, 212, 213, 14. I've been all over that. I
Yeah.
can't.
But a legit back-to-back cast, 215 and it was a 213 or 212, whatever it was. Back-to-back cast, and yeah, those are my 2
I've
best
always
crappie
said when I catch a 50-pound striper and a 3-pound crappie, I'm gonna put them on the wall. I can flip my camera around right now and show y'all my wall. It's got a bunch of big deer on it, but there ain't a fish on it.
Yeah,
Actually-
my first 50-pound striper's on the damn wall at my local tackle shop. They ain't even seen my wall yet.
I have caught a 12-pound largemouth, and I have not put him in the damn wall. I don't give a shit about it.
I ain't putting a damn largemouth on the
Yeah,
wall.
damn right. Damn right.
Throw them in the ditch. That's where they belong. in the first ditch.
Damn. Pissed off some folks with that. That's right.
Throw that bucket mouth back in the water.
Yep.
That or cut him up and make him produce a big fish.
put them out there with some turtle bait. Yep.
That's
Fish in
another
one
thing.
hand, half a dozen other.
I don't understand the attraction of bass fishermen. You throw a damn worm or a lure or whatever 300 fucking times to catch a 3-pound fish that jumps twice,
Yeah.
and he's jerking
But
him
you
in the
gotta-
boat.
I get asked all the time. You know, I
But
got
you got
asked
to burn
today.
$40 worth of fuel. You got to buy an $80,000 boat. I mean, you got to spend
You got
$100 grand before you throw that $3 worm.
You
Yeah,
got to.
exactly.
You're right.
Hell
You're
with
right.
that.
You know, I've been asked many times. I was asked again today, why don't I bass fish? And then the question today was, why don't I fly fish or bass fish? And the answer is because I can't fish and hold this at the same time.
I don't want to. I
Can't
mean, that's
do
the thing.
You can't fucking do it. Can't do it. So yeah, Lee, I meant to ask you earlier. So you haven't fish fry yet with all them crappie?
Dude, it took me almost 3 hours to clean all them fish with the damn
God
electric
damn,
fillet
better
knife.
you than me. And somehow I got left with like 12 or 13 of them. Damn it.
Do you have an
My
electric
color
fillet
wasn't
knife? You
closed.
said, Pete Lee. You got an electric
What?
fillet knife.
Huh?
You had an electric fillet knife.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I can't stand cleaning fish without one. However, the last time me and Wes went fishing, I cleaned some fish with a wooden handled Dexter that Scott Perry had recommended Wes buy. So Wes bought one. And by the time I cleaned about the 14th fish with that wooden handled Dexter, it kind of grew on me. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey,
so I was gonna say, like, if I'm cleaning, like me and Pete, obviously had an epic day. I had 97 fish that I cleaned when I got done. I'm not doing that with a damn wooden handle knife.
No, not at all.
If I keep a catfish,
Well,
like
hey,
sometimes I'll keep one that's I shouldn't keep. Like I kept one last week that was probably 16, 17 pounds, and I normally don't keep those fish. But that was back to the day I was fishing by myself. And by the time I finally got that fish in the boat, he had took the hook. I couldn't even see the top of the hook in his throat. So I just cut it. I threw him in the box. I let 2 other ones go. I cleaned that fish with a wooden knife because, catfish has got a good nugget up here, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll use a regular fillet knife all day long. If I keep 6 or 8 crappie to bring home and eat for dinner, yeah. Because
Boys,
I will say that you do lose some fish with an electric fillet knife.
Mhm.
But when you're cleaning 20 plus,
Yeah, that's the difference.
let me tell you this. I used to be anti-electric knife, man. And I say, once you get a big
I
pile,
was too, 100%.
you got to. But let me tell you what's changed the game is those lithium battery.
Lithium-ion batteries. Yeah.
No. My Bubba Blade, I bought electric Bubba Blade, and it ain't worth a fuck.
Ain't worth a shit.
There's your problem. There's your problem right there. You bought the Bubba, and I did my research. Stay away from Bubba every fucking thing. Bubba ain't
Yeah.
worth
No,
shit
I
the
for
bought-
Bubba Electric, that
Yeah, I
Bubba
bought
Electric
the,
blade is off the chain, but that
Bubba-
battery one ain't worth a shit.
Yeah, Bubba
I
ain't
bought
worth
the
the shit for nothing.
Rapala box that Walmart sells that you can do the 12 volt or the 24 volt
Uh-huh.
because I clean my fish at home. And that has been the best knife I've had. It comes with a short.
But are you primarily using it you're plugging it into a 110 or are you using the
You can
12
do it
volt
either
feature?
way. I've took
which
it.
one do you do it most of the time?
Which is
most time
faster,
I do
does
it
the-
110.
Exactly.
Does the
See, they're
110
great.
Does the 110? Yeah, does the 110? Does the blades move faster than it does on the 12 volt?
Yes.
Cause mine do.
Absolutely.
Yes, the 110. I love an electric fillet knife. I had never used a cordless fillet knife until I used because I'd always looked forward to using a cord. I was like, man, I want a cordless one. I never did get one. I always used.
I've
the
never
electric
used one,
ones.
so I can't.
Yeah. Then we went down there and we caught a bunch of fish, and Wes had his cordless Bubba, which is like those things are like $300. I couldn't
Yeah,
wait
mine's
to use it.
They are.
I could not wait to use that thing. We got back there to the dock, man. I was so happy and excited. I grabbed that thing. I was about to knock some sides off some fish. And man, I'm telling you what, it's like cleaning fish with a freaking, how toenail clippers have that little file that you flip out. It's like I was cleaning the fish with that. It was horrible. It was
So does it
absolutely
just
horrible.
reciprocate
It
slower?
really was.
Yes. And Wes,
Yeah,
I asked
yeah, the
Wes, I
blades
said,
are just a lot
are your
slower.
batteries dead, bro? He's like, no, they're fully charged. And I was like, well, I will never get a cordless freaking fillet knife.
So I don't offer to clean people's fish. Like
Hell
at all.
no. Fuck no.
But I've had
I make a note on day one.
I've had a couple people ask me like beforehand if I'd clean the fish for them because they were from out of town, whatever. They were going to fly back with them, whatever the case is. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And I took the reciprocal part and put it on the 12-volt battery and cleaned them on the boat. But I've not noticed a huge difference, but it is a slower difference, 12-volt versus 120. But yeah, that 120 is like a sawzall, man. It's just zip.
Yep.
And
That's
y'all
the
talk
best.
shit about
that's the best
shit
lithium
about
battery.
why I pay somebody to clean my fish. Fuck y'all.
I ain't never talked shit
Damn.
about that.
Pete knows who I'm talking to.
Damn.
Damn.
Wes, when I go to the beach, I pay people to clean my fish too.
Hey, bud, listen. When I get up, my old ass gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going out there 70 plus, maybe 80 miles offshore, trolling another 30 miles, stopping and bottom fishing for 4 hours, going back another 75, 80 miles. By the time I get back there, dude, I'm
Fuck
ready to
cleaning
hit
the
the books
fish.
over him. I don't give a fuck cleaning the fish. Exactly. You can have it.
Dieter, you wasn't here last weekend, or you just seen me here then too.
Yeah, Dieter, we'll wait on you, bud. We got
But
some
no,
questions to ask you.
I don't know. I just going back to that the whole line fishing thing, the time of year. I think like I fished, like I said, I fished the Somme line because they give it to me.
Just Riggs butt.
I don't use it as a leader. But I've used the 12-pound. I fish a lot of the 12-pound big game, the green stuff.
That's a good line. Berkeley
If we
is
go to the
basically a
river-
damn good line.
If we go to the river and it's muddy and I break a line off, I clip that bitch, make that my leader, and keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
We're fishing
For the
going
money.
into January,
money.
February. I'm gonna fish a full carbon leader because that water's clear down there where I fish.
Yeah.
But hey, Lee, for the money across the board, out of all the lines I've ever bought in my life and used, for the money, Berkeley Big Game is the best line I've ever put on a reel.
I
Strongest.
agree with that 100%.
Yeah,
Strongest, yeah.
Yeah.
For the money, yeah.
You can, I mean, you'll get that shit hung and wrap it on the reel twice and start pulling on it, and it'll damn stop the boat. And you're like, yeah, I promise this is 12-pound line. And people's looking at me like, are you for real? I'm like, no, it's 12-pound line. I'm sitting there trying to break the shit off.
Yeah.
You can't
I'll
beat
tell you
that.
something. I'll tell you something about. I learned about Andy line the hard way. You know, for years, when you hear the word Andy, first thing you think about is saltwater fishing. And, so it's better. Everything, no matter what you do, when you mention salt, it costs more because it's better.
That's
But be
right.
careful when you buy Andy line. Don't buy tournament grade line, because when you buy tournament, that means if it's 12 pounds, that shit's going to break at 12 fucking pounds. If you buy 10, it's going to break at 10.
Dieter's a big fan of the Andy line, but
Well, I like it, but don't buy. Don't buy the tournament grade. If it says tournament on it, that means if you're fishing in line class tournaments at 12 pounds, and they want to test your line and it don't break at 12 pounds, you're disqualified. So when you see that word, on Andy line, it will break at that. If it says tournament line and it's 10 pounds, you can bet your ass it's going to fucking break at 10 pounds.
I know some of y'all give them boys some catch beaver hell and stuff, but that damn slime line they got, that shit's solid. Now, I'm not saying that because they give me the line. I'm not saying that any reason other than it has no memory, and that I'm telling you, that stuff is stout. It would fail the hell out of a 20
Dieter did a
Hey, well,
test on.
Don't do no fucking videos with it, because they damn sure won't show them.
So
They got a video of me up right now.
Before JR talks, I'm going to add this. So I'm a very tough line critic, okay? Slime line I do love, but man, I tell you what, a 6-pound test is hard to find anywhere right now. You can't find it.
You can't get it. I've called Caleb. I mean, you can't get it. I got a couple spools, but it's hard to find.
So I've had to find something else, and I've been trying. I've been playing with this lately, and I'm gonna tell you right now. Like again, I'm a tough line critic, but this is fucking good shit. Okay, I started using this my last couple trips for crappie fishing, 6-pound line, K9 fluoro.
I hadn't even heard of K9.
Yeah, they're hard to find. It's very good stuff. Now, Wes, you gonna back me up on this? I bought this here recently. It cost me a damn arm and 2 legs and maybe a kidney, but But
Yes, Mamoe.
Mamoy.
the best damn
Yes.
shit right there. 20
Hell
pounds.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm ready to
Dieter will
spool
love
up
that.
dang 18 rods right now. So, yep.
That's what Dieter
What was
uses.
Dieter's outcome with the slime line versus the Andy?
It wasn't comprehensive enough. He tested the line and his
Dieter, I got it.
he measured the stretch. It
I got it coming to you,
stretches
buddy.
a lot. Kind of like Trilene XL. It's a
It
limp
does.
line.
It'll stretch for sure.
It's a
I
limp
agree.
line, so of course it
Yeah.
stretches. So he stretched it, and he said, without testing, mind you, that the stretched line would not have the same tensile strength as the non-stretched line. And his complaint with it was that it stretched so much that it wouldn't go back to its regular form. It remained stretched. So he assumed, it was not scientific at all. He assumed that the tensile strength was less. And I was like, Dieter, you got to test the stretched line. Test the stretched line, see where it breaks at.
It will
assumed
stretch.
it broke it less.
I'll give him that. It will stretch, and it does not take it back. When it stretches,
never-
it stretches.
He never did test the stretched line to see where it would break. But maybe one day we'll get that test.
We got a lot of shit to do over the next couple of months.
Dieter said, "Where's the invite?" I thought you sent him an invite.
I just did.
Oh, okay.
But like Pete was saying, I have a very, very small circle on Lake Norman. It consists of Pete and about a mutual friend, and that's
Let me guess who the mutual friend is.
you ain't going to. But go ahead.
It's okay. Then it's not TJ Zielinski.
Funny guy. He got jokes. Okay, anyways, go ahead. Continue.
Nah,
Okay.
it's
Well,
his
I'll tell you.
it's his stepdad.
Well, I tell you who loves you guys and you're probably your biggest fans, especially you, Lee.
Spivey.
Spivey loves some Lee Huffman.
Me and Spivey
And
have
I have
talked.
to hear every time I talk to him about fishing. I'm like, it's fucking Lee Huffman.
Me and Spivey talk a lot. Not necessarily this time of year because he don't fish a lot this time of year. But me and Spivey talk a lot. Pete,
Oh yeah, he tells me.
Pete knows that me and Spivey talk, and me and Spivey's a smart fisherman. Spivey's a damn good fisherman. But me and Spivey talk a lot in the spring.
Let me tell you the one worst thing to do on Lake Norman. So we got a tight circle, me, Lee, a couple others. The worst thing you can do in a circle is fucking lie to us. You lie to us, you're out the fucking circle right away. Quick like. Yep.
My circle on Lake Wiley pretty much consists of the guy that just joined the show. That's the only person I talk to about fishing on Lake
My
Wiley.
lead. I gotta get the lead out there. There we go.
Hey,
Heck
we
yeah,
burnt the
baby.
crap out of
We're
the
ready
house
to go.
right above.
We gotta do something here, man. Come on.
We burned a house right there below your house today.
Yeah, we about burned one in the backyard. That's why I said don't 1022 anything on South Hook. You already checked it out and everything's good.
The house right there beside the Wilcox property.
I smell like smoke. Okay. The Wilcox property. How far?
Yeah. Right there across from the four-wheeler place.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That house burnt very heavily today. That's the pictures on my Facebook.
Wait a minute. That wasn't a training fire, right? Oh, that's where we heard all the sirens earlier. I started to text you to see what the hell was going on.
About 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Sirens.
Oh, wait a minute. Was that the property that happened to be for sale?
It was bought today at 10 a.m.
Oh my God.
How convenient. Yeah, there were some issues with achieving the price point, from what I understand. But
can someone mute Wes?
That's none of my business. That's none of my business. So anyway,
Yeah, I can't talk about all that right now because I was.
of course,
the
that's none of your
person
business
there.
either. So yeah, that's just what I've heard from being in the neighborhood. So that's interesting. So
hold the thought.
There's
very
another
briefly.
one.
Very briefly.
Yeah, don't be surprised if there's not a big structure fire here within the next 6 months on another property that's been abandoned for a while.
Call me tomorrow.
So
All
my
right,
friend
so
texted me.
have we discussed the F-35 crash? That's what you initially invited
Oh
me
yeah,
for.
you missed all that. It's already gone.
I
Whatever.
missed that.
Unfortunately, I was out of town because I would have made a Facebook post saying, "Hey, anyone want to come over and play with my new F-35 in my driveway?" But no.
Here's the thing, dude. I can't wait to hear, because I reached out to some of my former military buddy pilots and got the criteria for what are the circumstances under which you eject from an aircraft that has ejection seats. Now, obviously, not all aircraft have them, but fighter jets, high performance aircraft have them. And it has to be in a situation to where you can no longer maintain control of the aircraft, flat spins, all that kind of radical stuff. And it's happened before, believe it or not, that somebody's ejected and the plane recovered from it. But it's interesting in this aircraft, what the freak happened that somebody, and again, I think the Marine Corps is tap dancing on what happened. I think they finally got into let's shut up mode and figure out a reasonable explanation, because they came out initially with this, like, we put it in the autopilot, which makes me laugh. And
Because the
then
plane can fly itself, right?
Oh, sure, it can just fly itself right back to wherever. Like, somebody took the time to do that. It's so contradictory to the fact that you're in a critical situation to where you have to eject. So
Yeah.
I'm curious what explanation they're going to come. The other thing is not to knock down the older folks like myself, but this guy was 48. They have revealed the age of the pilot, which in military terms is somewhat older.
Very geriatric in the military.
Well, you let's just say you get out of college, you go through flight school. Let's just say you're in the cockpit by 26, 36, 46. You're usually out. It kind of makes you wonder what the heck was going on there. So I think they're doing a.
He watched the new Top Gun movie and was trying to break the sound barrier.
It was Tom Cruise. He was trying to go Mach 9, and
so
that's what it was. So it'll be interesting to see. I have heard that inside sources tell me that the Marine Corps is spending $14.2 million on Apple AirTags for all their stuff, so they don't lose it anymore. So I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll see.
Wow, how many AirTags can you buy for 14.2 mil?
A lot.
They're gonna put them on all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
So I remember. You remember? Well, first of all,
I'm gonna go pee. I'll be back again.
Yeah, take your time, Lee. So Pete, you were about to say something before Dieter come on. What you want to?
Yeah. So from the pilot here point of view here, a lot of these aircraft have like protections with them that will actually power themselves out of stall situations. Okay. Airbus is one of them. I don't think Boeing has it. I'm sure they have upgraded software that do it now. But it's my assumption that possibly the aircraft may have powered itself out of these multiple situations to where, it was in a stall and it recovered from it multiple occasions, doing possibly something like this. And then 80 miles down the road, it finally, lost it and crashed in the woods somewhere there. But yeah.
Yeah, because supposedly one of my buddies told me that some of the Marine Corps jets do have an auto eject function because they have this, for lack of a better term, this slow speed landing, vertical takeoff stuff that puts them in some situations that aren't normal, and it's really down to a couple of seconds. You got to decide.
Dieter, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at something else. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And that something like this may have been initiated, but from what the Marine Corps says, they were at an altitude where that should not have, occurred. So it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with for an explanation for what the heck happened in this thing. So,
we're pretty late in the show, so I'm not going to expeditiously wrangle you guys back into the topic of fishing, but I'm going to attempt to do so. So James Smith, I used to fish with him back in the day, and Dieter, he mentioned he would bring a sausage biscuit every morning he'd go fishing, and he would like he would throw the sausage biscuit pieces. He would tear it to pieces and throw it in the water for the fish. And he said that was paying homage to the fish. I guess that was like his way of it was his way of like like getting some confidence, I guess. Like
Right.
is there anything that you do that kind of, I don't know, it's like a ritual, not necessarily a ritual, but something that just puts you in the zone, like when you get out there to go fishing?
What I like to do is pay homage. What I like to do is pay homage to this show's sponsor, Bush Light, that was right there in front of the camera for a minute, and thank them for all they've done for making sure this show is possible. See, Lee screwed up. He put it out of frame. You got to put it back in frame. Thank you. There you go. That's better. No, I don't get into that stuff. I don't get into the ritualistic stuff of fishing, except for putting the net back in the same position. And it seems like there's one more thing.
So what do you do to get into your mechanics? Like when you go fishing, do you do the same thing most of the time? Is everything just your mechanics come naturally?
I will say this. I say no, there's not, but there is. Like on a guide trip, when I have my outside planer boards, my inside planer boards, those rods are in two different positions in the monster rod holders. Occasionally, somebody will pick a rod up, check it, mess with it, and put it in at the wrong angle. I will go over there and change it. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't change whether a freaking fish bites it or not.
Right.
But it is a mental thing, just like a race car driver putting on the left glove first, the right glove first, flipping the visor down after he's checked, blah, 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 switches. It's just it's a thing that reaffirms your process and what you're doing. Just like Pete, okay?
Routine.
Pete goes through a checklist every day when he gets on a plane.
Yeah, it's automatic.
They honestly memorize the crap. They almost know it word for word. They don't even have to look at it. But it reaffirms what's going on, that everything is being done that you're supposed to do in that process, so that when stuff goes wrong, you know you're covered.
So you do pretty much the same thing every time.
You missed the first part of the show, but I made basically the same comment. I said I think a lot of what I do and the way I do it is because of my full-time job. Like I'm built with a system of checks and balances, and it comes from working at the fire department. Like I always do this X, Y, Z. So like you say, we were talking earlier about being cocky or confident. I'm confident when I set my stuff up the way I want it, that it'll work. So with all that being said, if somebody changes it a little bit, then I've got to fix it back the way I want it, because I'm confident it'll work like that.
So I have one ritual out there in the ocean that we must accomplish every trip, or every time we're king fishing, and it is to put the gaff in the fish we call it the fish catching position. Okay, and the gaff must be.
Lee's exactly right. Firefighters are the same way.
Yep.
I think Dieter might be on a little bit of a delay.
I think so. Yeah.
Sorry.
He is.
Go ahead,
because
buddy.
like everything he says is like.
Yeah, try going out and coming back in, Dieter. You would think that the guy with the big YouTube channel and the big media presence would have decent
and the badass
internet.
background.
I know, right? And a stolen buoy. Let's not forget about that.
It's delayed because when he walked away right then, he looked like a damn ghost.
I know, right?
He's over there glitching.
He's
We got Wes glitching. We got
we
got Wes talking to Copper.
To my,
Dieter's
I'm
glitching.
Then Dieter's glitching and Wes is twitching.
Stand by.
Oh boy, what are we doing here?
Anyways,
Michael, this show is as long as we want it to be. How about that?
Dieter, you hear us now?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, something's going on with your Wi-Fi there all of a sudden.
Yeah, something's wrong with Dieter.
The buoy was gifted to me by the state, as I say.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Some of the calls stolen though, by the way. So regardless.
So y'all, dear, you was talking about like routine every morning especially when I'm going offshore. I have this little routine I do. My biggest thing on a boat is everything's got to be in place. I want to know where everything I'm fishing is. I want to know where my bitch butts is. I need to know where my tackle box is. Where I'm gonna cut
But
my
it's
bait.
good now that I'm here.
I mean, everything is just. And listen, it irks the shit out of me. Like you just said, if a rod's not in the holder, turned the way I want it to be turned.
It
I
is.
like when you put a rod in the holder, I want the rod. I don't want one where the reel's facing. Where the
Processing too
reel's
much
facing
shit
the
is
water.
what it comes down to.
Huh?
He's like 30 seconds behind us. Something's wrong with his Wi-Fi.
But like when your reel is facing down on the water, I like the reel to be up like on a bait caster. You know, I don't want it turned where the bait caster is facing the back of the rod. You know, that irks the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. Is it going to make a difference? Probably not. Everything has to be in order for me, and I'm real ADHD. If something's out of place on the boat, you can ask JR. I go all to hell. I'll start cussing and ask people where's this at? Because it's supposed to be here. If you move something, put it back. Because if you don't, and I need it, and it's not there, and it causes me to lose a fish, I'm gonna go.
Right. It comes to crunch time.
Yeah.
Like when you need something right now, you want it to be where it's supposed to be.
I hate looking for something on a boat when I know it's supposed to be there. And I don't. My biggest pet peeve on a boat when I get somewhere, especially when we're cut bait and bottom fishing, I'll get a knife. I'll cut up a bunch of bait, and I always put a knife back in the holder. I don't like to leave a knife on my cutting board or just laying out somewhere on that boat. I like a knife to be in that holder. Because it don't take but one little mistake, and somebody cut a fucking finger, or you cut it, or get cut enough where you're fucking free bleeding, and you can die out there before somebody gets to you.
I ain't worried about that. I'm worried about landing the fish.
That's right.
Well, since we got all 5 of us on here, why don't we schedule a little tournament?
Man, we ain't never did shit we say we're gonna do on here.
I'll be honest with you, man. I am so busy through the rest of the year with my few weekends with tournaments already and such.
I said schedule.
Schedule. All right.
Schedule.
Oh yeah. Before I was interrupted earlier, so my buddy texted me. He got assigned work for Saturday. So if anyone wants to jump on the boat with me for the tournament, they are welcome to. But just know, more than likely, it will be a one-person operation from the boat.
I'm down.
Come on.
I'll fish it with you, Pete, but my family, I'm going to have my family from North Carolina's coming down to the campground. We're going to have the kids. So
all right, let's pretend we're 10 seconds ago. Anyone's welcome except Wes on my boat for this tournament.
Call me tomorrow. No shit.
This is like Dom from Fast and the Furious. He's like family.
I'm going to pre-fish pretty hard Thursday and Friday. So, yeah.
I got to work Thursday at the fire department. Friday, I ain't got a lot going on, but call me tomorrow for real. I'm down.
Hey, Dieter, does back to the subject at hand, fishing and the mental part of fishing, you being such a big content creator, having such a big following, does that ever like interfere, or does it ever affect your confidence when you're out there on the water? Like, are you like, hey, I'm Dieter Melhorn fishing, I have to succeed? And I can't hear a word he's saying. Can you guys hear him?
No.
We can't hear you, Dieter. No audio. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Dieter's going to come back and join. We can hear you now, Dieter.
What tournament?
What tournament? I think it's 30 seconds behind his lag right now.
What tournament?
It's on High Rock Lake. That's a crappie tournament.
What?
I'm gonna remove.
What?
He needs to get rid of that Boost Mobile.
It's that damn Gastonia shit.
I'm in Gastonia. JR's in Gastonia. Our shit's working fine.
All right, I kicked him. I guess he can come back on the same invite. I guess that's how that works.
You can. Yeah. So y'all little big motherfuckers go fish that tournament.
We'll do it.
What's that?
I said, call me tomorrow if you want to do it. We'll do it.
Oh yeah, I'm
about
doing it no
Saturday?
matter what.
I mean, I know you're doing it. I guess I'm gonna say if you want me to come with you, call me. I'll come with you.
Lee's gonna be like, hey Pete, let's go over here and anchor up and cut bait, bud.
Yeah.
Not crappie fishing.
We're gonna cut bait these fathead minnows in this blue water. We're
Oh,
gonna,
Pete, I thought you were talking about fishing that kingfish tournament with you.
No, a crappie tournament here.
Oh, fuck a crappie.
What time we need to be where? What I need to do?
Honestly, I don't even know the time frame of anything yet. I hadn't looked at it that far, but
Tamarack, is that where y'all leaving from?
I mean, you can come to my house, like last time.
Either way.
man, Peter ain't trying to show you no crappy spots, Lee. You ain't going with him.
I ain't worried about it. I'm just gonna go fishing with it and
Hey,
enjoy
when I
it.
went with Lee the other day, we pretty much pre-fished some of the same areas I want to try.
Oh, did you guys fish the other day together?
Yeah.
No,
No,
What am I supposed to say?
not at all.
no.
He just clapped his hands and a whole pool full of fish appeared there.
I called him and I was like, man, I need a fish fry. He said, meet me at the boat ramp. I just showed up, we put him in the boat, and we left.
So
I blindfolded
this
his
was
ass
on
before he got to the spot, though. So
this was on Lake Norman.
no, that was a High Rock.
Oh, High Rock. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Where's the tournament? What lake's the tournament on?
High Rock.
High Rock. Okay.
What do you think it'll take to win it?
With the strong winds in the forecast, I'm gonna say about 11 pounds.
7 fish?
7 fish. Yep.
7 fish, 11 pounds.
Yep.
That's it.
Now, I will say this: the last 2 trips I made, one with Lee and the one right after with the other guy there.
That's averaging almost 2 pounds of fish, right?
That's pretty stout, man.
Oh wow,
We'd
that's
have
a lot.
We'd have done better than 11 that day.
But a lot of times, in all seriousness, we came up to a spot.
Are you guys weighing your fish?
Let
or you
me
just-
talk here real quick. So we pull up to a spot and we'd catch a good fish, and we would back off that spot right away and go somewhere else. Did we not, Lee?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I got a couple spots in my back pocket to where there's decent fish, but here's the X factor. It's gotten cold outside. These fish are starting to pull off brush now.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm worried about right now.
Yeah, it could be
Pull
tough.
off brush.
They're starting
Maybe,
to pull.
maybe brush in certain areas, but they're moving
starting
to
to
brush
pull off.
in other
Speaking from the
areas.
damn fishermen right here. They are starting to pull off brush.
It's going
right
against
now.
it's going against my. I'm a fisherman too.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
telling you
them-
right now, man.
When them fish pull off brush,
They might be
they're gonna
pulling
start
off
following
your.
the bait.
They might be pulling off your brush, but they pulling on to somebody else's brush.
Boom.
No,
Now I'm
them
connected.
fish are targeting bait. Them fish ain't going to brush. Them
Oh
fish
my
are targeting
god!
bait.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Now, also, JR, keep in mind, High Rock Lake is average depth about 20, 25 foot. So,
All right,
it's a
so
shallow
I got a
lake.
question.
Down faster.
Pete,
What you
where is the tournament and what kind of tournament is it Saturday?
It's a
nice to
crappie
see
tournament
you.
on a High Rock Lake.
Okay.
It's a pretty big one too.
Hey, we got a
And so
comment here.
all I've got to do is film the whole time. I don't have to do anything important.
Yeah, that's right.
TJ Zelensky says, my son asked what I was doing and why is the guy in the red shirt stuck in 2001? I said he is a pilot and they are different.
Har, 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 har. Har, har, har.
Har, 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 har.
And then Scott Perry had a comment. He said, if Pete would have ejected,
I
he
saw
would
that
look like
earlier.
one of the little green army men that I used to throw up in the air as a kid.
I saw that.
The Scott's brutal. What the hell's Michael Walker doing on here with his mountain looking ass?
Hell, I didn't know he was still alive.
I didn't either. Hell,
He's used to filming Mike's Minute, so I guess this is pretty long for him.
Dieter, what's your schedule look like?
You guys know Dieter's going to totally ghost you on the whole. I'm going to come film this crappy tournament.
I mean, I'm kind of used to it with him. I've asked him a couple times.
I wasn't
Dude,
asking
you're
that. I
muted
was
right
just
now. Looks
wondering
like
if,
I see a mute on you. You're muted.
Oh, hang on. Let me. Somebody muted you, Dieter. Hang on, I got you,
I
buddy.
think it's Wes.
I hadn't muted
Unmute.
nobody. Somebody had me muted.
No,
I don't blame them.
It said can't unmute your guest. Their mic is Incorrect.
Hold on, let me see what it does on mine, JR.
No, it says their mic isn't connected.
Hold on, let me try. It says I can unmute him. Hold on.
Your mic's not connected. It's not connected.
Text him.
He's got it. He can hear you.
You can hear
Yeah,
me?
he
Oh,
can
yeah.
hear you.
It says your mic's not connected, Dieter. It's got you your audio. It's got your audio. Says that you have no audio. Captain Dieter Melhorn is unmute. I'm trying to unmute you from here, and it comes up. It says can't unmute your guest. Their mic isn't connected. Okay.
Dieter,
Yep.
I love you
Y'all-
to death.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're
So,
good.
Dieter, I love
Pete,
you to
all
death,
I've gotta
but for
do-
you to be a damn TV guy and all this, you're struggling tonight.
Listen, I'm so spoiled by having about 8 people around to deal with audio, deal with lighting, deal with cameras. When I have to do it all, I suck at it. So yeah, I give you that. So Pete,
what's your
all I
schedule?
got to
You
do
home?
is show
What you
up,
doing?
pay the money.
He's
we
back
lost
on.
you
All
again.
I got to do
Lost
is
you
show
again.
up and film and kick. Yeah, he's
Mike's
already
again.
established. That's all you have to do, bud. It's just
He's
show
out
up.
again.
He's gone again.
Boy, struggling, son. Struggling.
ESPN ain't gonna pay him shit.
I think what happened was the dang government found out the chatter about the F-35, and now they're on it.
Oh, they shut him down.
They got him, boy.
I
They
think
got him.
next week we are to do a show on expelling myths about fishing.
Next week we ought to do a show on how to get Dieter to work his mic.
Exposing myths.
Oh boy, Wildlife heard about their missing buoy. They got him.
Between that and talking shit about the government, they done shut
God
his ass
alive,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, he's shut down. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, Joe, you
tell
want to take him out and bring him back?
Yeah. I mean, he can do that himself. But I'll kick him out. Hang on, let me kick you out. There he goes. Oh, you did that, Wes.
I did.
No, that's not kicking him out. You got to kick from studio. Here we go. Boom, kicked him. Gave him the boot. All right. Well, what's a myth about fish? Well, no, we're going to talk about that next week.
A myth
All right, well.
about fishing?
Yeah, that's what.
That catfish are biggest Volkswagens, and people
That's-
went down the downs and they're bigger than cars.
That's
No,
a
I
good
don't
one.
sound
That shit as a kid.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Went from the east, fish bite the least.
West is best.
You think that's a myth?
I don't.
Oh, well, we're exposing myths.
I mean, I've caught fish on the east wind, but
That
damn
would be a
sure
myth.
tougher.
That's actually true.
I've caught fish on the east wind, but it's damn sure tougher.
And why? What makes it tougher?
Fuck,
Does the
I don't
fish know which way the wind's blowing?
I guess.
Dieter, we got your audio fixed, bud?
Before Dieter's mic
I don't
cuts
know.
out,
You tell
ask
me.
the question.
Yeah.
I
What do you
shut
think?
down my other computer. I think everything was latching over to it is what was happening. So I shut it
Okay.
down. So
Okay.
I got you
sound
loud and
good.
clear now, fella.
I think we're okay. So there we go.
On time and everything too. I like it. All right. Much
Hell
better.
yeah. I even seen him pick his hand up as he was talking.
Almighty.
Dude, what's the biggest myth? What's the biggest myth you've ever heard about fishing?
Oh, giant catfish at the dam is probably
Out
that's
of
my little-
Volkswagen, son.
my-
He wasn't even here
Yeah,
and he
Out of
nailed it.
Volkswagen. That's
that's
right.
He wasn't
from my
even here
little
and he nailed
world.
it.
Yeah.
He wasn't even
yeah,
here and he nailed it.
Yeah, I just cringe every time I start to hear that story,
That's
no matter
why I
where I'm
said-
at.
My cousin went down there with a scuba diving gear the other day and seen one big as a catfish. I mean, big as a Volkswagen. It was like,
Yeah,
well,
right. Yes, that's right.
Well, Huffy, you know our buddy Jeremy, and he's a diver on the Charlotte Fire Department. He's never seen a catfish that big, and he's been down there at the dam. That's where they're qualified, and that fish ain't there. So
if
there
that's
you
the
go.
case, then where's the 100-pound catfish come out of Lake Wiley?
I don't think there's 100-pound catfish in Lake Wiley.
I agree with that.
Well, back to the subject
I
at
agree with
hand and the mental
I
part
agree
of
with that.
fishing. I asked Dieter what Does
Oh,
his
yeah.
social media presence intimidate him sometimes? Or
No, you were asking me about that, and that's a very good question. No, it doesn't. Because I know it's just like hell, all of y'all. When I'm on the water, I've got a lot of damn confidence in what I'm doing. And it's not cockiness, it's confidence. I know that what I'm doing is right. Now, it may not be in the right place. It may not be, particularly the right time to catch those fish, but I got 100% confidence in what I'm
Did you
doing.
watch this
It's
show
why-
earlier? Were you watching
No,
this
I did
earlier?
not.
Because I
I did
literally
not.
said the same thing.
I did not. And I tell people that on trips, it's not like, oh, I'm the greatest thing in the world. But when you do it as much as we fish and as many hours and days as you spend on the water, you know that what you're doing is right. Sometimes there's just a variable of, the lunar phase, time of day, whatever. And especially when you're on a guide trip, you've got a window you're operating within. And it may be right over here is where the fish are biting, or right over here, but you're operating in this window. You know that what you're doing is right. You know that what you're doing is working. You're not trying to figure it out while you're underwater. You're trying to figure out where the fish are, maybe where biting fish are, but trying to figure out the process and all that. You've got all that dialed in. We all do.
You focus on one thing at a time. You got your mechanics down, and you focus on one thing at a time.
Me and Pete had this whole conversation
Scott Perry,
earlier.
the answer to your question is Dieter is married. Dieter's got kids. Dieter's got a job. I am married. I have kids. A kid. I have a job. That's the difference. Is Dave lives with his parents and is single. And
well, wait a second. Are
he's
you
a
answering?
psychopath.
Are you answering the question on the screen with that?
I am. Yeah, Dave is a psychopath. He lives with his parents, and he.
But I mean, what do you mean compete with? I think pretty much everybody in this show has outperformed in life what he's accomplished. So I don't know what you mean by compete with him. It's why can't he keep up with what we're doing in life?
Bam.
Damn,
I mean, I'm not being mean or demeaning, but I mean, you got Lee here, who is a career firefighter that is going to have a great life, a great retirement. You got Pete, he's an airline pilot. You got, JR over here that who the hell knows what he does, but he at least
you couldn't
lives in
find
his
a
own
compliment
home.
for me.
You got Wes that will slit your damn throat if you crosstalk him. So I mean, you got all that going for you.
And fix the AC, just know that. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's funny. Yeah, I didn't know you were answering that question. I think there's a lot of satire in what Scott offers as that, because I don't think anybody here really thinks that Catfish Dave is like competition for anybody.
I don't think anybody here really gives a shit.
Catfish Dave is, and I'm not saying this, I know somebody might tell him or whoever watched the show, which I don't give a damn, but I think Catfish Dave would qualify seriously as a psychopath.
100%.
Of course he is. Listen, I gotta admit, Dave has me blocked.
Dave hit the nail on the head. He lives.
Dave's
with
got
his
me blocked,
mom.
but
I don't know about a psychopath. I can't make a clinical analysis on him, but I will tell you this.
Have you ever been around him?
I have been around him. I've done podcasts with him. I've done interviews with him. I've been around him, and I've had phone conversations with him. I will say this: out of all of that, he's got a good thing going with his YouTube career. I think it was better than what it was when he was working at the concrete plant, and I think he's probably in a good space. Hopefully, he can sustain it, because that's a long road.
Dieter wasn't a concrete plant.
The only thing I learned from Catfish Dave is
a brickyard. I thought he made concrete.
Some kind of weird fetish with catfish's buttholes. He likes cougars, and they don't like him.
Wes, quit putting that comment up there.
Well, I'm trying to read it.
Well, read it.
Put damn glasses.
I don't have my glasses.
It's a bot.
Put your glasses on.
It's a bot. You don't need to read it. It's nothing. It's a bot.
Okay.
So he worked.
But no, I hope Dave finds his happiness in his place and all that. I mean that's cool. There's room for all of us. Listen, I get a lot. The irony is, I get a lot of viewers from his YouTube channel.
Of course
And
you do. All
there's
you
a
big
lot of people
catfish
that watch
YouTubers
his stuff, that watch
get
mine,
this.
and
Yeah, a
you
lot
know,
of you got the same viewers. Yeah.
Any
Yep.
publicity.
Listen, I
is
got to admit, I
good.
like Dave.
Okay.
I like
Absolutely.
Dave. I watch Dave's. I watch his videos. I like him. Yes, he's got me blocked because he's got thin skin and he can't handle shit talking on Facebook, and he has no room, quote unquote, for negativity, and he's blocking people every day. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
I'm blocked
Yes.
too.
Yes.
I
Yes.
am
Yes.
too.
Okay.
Lee,
All of us
how did
are.
you get blocked? You're a sweetheart of the
But I got to
group.
admit, I do like watching the guy's content. I think he's funny.
That's what got me
That
blocked.
explains it. That explains it. Yeah. But he is what he is, and he's got his place, and he's going to have his following. That is in all honesty, most of the followers are the converse of what I'm looking for in my followers, and that's cool.
100%.
There's some that are cross pollination, and that's cool. But
So
But,
there's some.
but like when he's talking shit about you on Facebook, any publicity is good publicity. Because like you just
the
said,
only thing,
it
the
flips
only thing
around
that
and makes them come look at your shit.
the only thing that pisses me off is that he doesn't give a link to my website, Facebook, or Instagram account. That's the only thing that pisses me off. He can say whatever he wants to me. I'm getting ready to do another catfish butthole video just for him. And
Oh my God.
I
Are you
hope-
really, dude? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I really hope he just the great thing is about YouTube and the modern artificial intelligence is he can even spell my name wrong, and Google and YouTube will still find me. So it's a beautiful place to be.
So,
Well,
oh my God, I can't wait to see the new butthole video, bro. Have you already filmed it?
No, I hadn't filmed it yet. We've got a script written for it, and it's a coming.
Hang
who's
on.
we?
I'll be right back.
I got a question for y'all, catfishermen.
Yep.
Your opinion, Dieter. I would just say the East Coast, but I'll say catfishing across the United States. I don't know how many people you follow in catfishing, but in your opinion, who would you say is the best catfisherman out there right now?
There is none. There is no best. I mean, how do you
J.R.
quantify
Cochran.
that?
Me.
I mean, how do you quantify who's the
Catch,
best?
catches big fish that knows how to target and catch big
Who
fish.
catches catfish the size of Volkswagens?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I mean,
Wes.
That's
there is
not
nobody.
me. That's not me. Look, my hands are folded. That's
My
not
elbow
me.
must have hit it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there is no best. I mean, let's face it. We've said this before. Catfish are not super duper hard to catch. Okay, catching the big ones, a lot of it's luck. Catching them on a consistent basis takes more skill, but you can't just go, oh, somebody's got some magic secret.
I could totally
formula or
catch
something.
large catfish on a consistent basis easily.
If you were to ask me who's the best person out there for catching great white sharks, okay, I would tell you Chip Michaelov. Chip
Who
Michaelov,
wants to?
nobody can beat him in catching great white sharks.
My point is though, who wants to? Why is it such a competition? Like I could go catch big fish consistently. Man, I'm gonna go and be honest with you, Dieter. I don't give a shit. Why would I want to?
I
I've
think
done
it's
it.
a human. I think it's a human nature trying to quantify something so that you have something to aim for. And there's something to be said for that from a marketing aspect. Is that you've got. I want to be the best bass fisherman. Who's the best bass fisherman? We're going to say Kevin Van Dam, even though he's retired, because he's the badass. Who's the greatest
He was
quarterback
pretty
of all
good, no
time?
doubt about it.
Tom Brady. Okay, you can argue that, but everybody's going to say it's Tom Brady. People want something to aim for, and I think that's the only reason you bring that question up is because somebody, who's the greatest striper fisherman out there? Is Captain Billy Davis, Melton Hill Bill, the man who's caught more skipjack than any other person alive?
No, the
I
greatest
put
striper
that in my
fisherman
video
is-
this week just to piss some people off.
The
So,
greatest striper fisherman is Scott Perry.
I mean, I maybe so. I've never seen the fish he's caught, and I didn't know who the hell he was before his great thumbnail in that striper fishing video that I found. But I mean, maybe so. I don't know.
It's
Scott's
whoever
getting
can
washed up
catch
these days.
big
I don't know.
baits consistently. I would have to take Scott out of the being the best. I think he's up at the top, but I think the best is going to be a guy that catches his own bait.
Well, I mean, to that point, Billy Davis is good at that. I mean, that's what my
No,
stick
I'm
video I
I'm
just did.
I'm not talking about a guy that lives in Tennessee, Dieter. That's
Oh, you
cheating.
got to
I mean,
live somewhere else and then go somewhere. Well,
no,
okay.
I know you can live in it, not the Mecca. You could live in the Southeast, really anywhere, Lake Murray, Lake Hartwell, Savannah Chain. It doesn't matter. But you got to take Tennessee out. That's cheating. That's
No, it's not.
moving. Yes, it is. Moving
No,
to the
it's not.
Tennessee River.
It's not cheating.
Okay, it's not
Tennessee
cheating.
can be hard. Tennessee,
But you have to account for that. You have to say,
Tennessee
okay,
can hand
this
you
guy's
your
good, but
ass
he
just like
lives in
anyplace else can.
Tennessee. Fishing
I've
in
been handed
the Mecca.
Tennessee's handed me my ass a lot more than one time.
Okay, Wes. Let's say this. Let's have a tournament. I'll tell you what. I'll go to Tennessee. You go to Hartwell. We'll see who catches the biggest fish.
That's stupid. That's silly.
Yeah. Thank you, Dieter.
That's
Yeah,
my
I
point.
don't make
That's
sense.
asinine.
Anyways, changing
Proving my point.
subject.
You guys are
Changing
proving my
subject. So, Dieter, you're saying something about High Rock Lake. What was that?
What was that? Sorry.
point. Oh my
You're
God, nobody
saying
wants to talk
earlier
about the
about-
Yadkin chain.
You were saying
Pete.
something about High Rock Lake before your mic
Yeah.
cut out for you.
Yeah, no, I wanna go fish High Rock as kind of a lake I haven't fished.
No, Dieter. He's talking about when you were talking about filming the tournament.
Oh, is that where the tournament's at?
Yeah.
Dude, what time do I have to be there Saturday?
I don't know. I'm gonna
He's not going to be
say-
there.
I'm gonna
He's
say
not
5:30
coming.
a.m., 6 a.m., somewhere thereabouts.
He ain't.
Why-
Hit me
why
up
would you-
tomorrow. I may make this happen.
He ain't.
Why
coming.
would you feel
If you want
How
to,
the fuck did I
Hey,
just get kicked to the curb?
hey, if you want to jump in the boat and film at no
No.
cost whatsoever, you can do that. Lee,
Listen,
whatever.
Lee's, you're going to fish with him.
Oh,
Dieter's going to film.
So that's legal. We can have 3
Not
people.
gonna-
We can, yeah.
Oh, dude, let's hit me up tomorrow. Let's talk about this. That
He
would be
ain't
I will.
coming.
I'm down.
I will double
Don't even
check
hit
the
him
rules real
up,
quick
Peter.
before
He
anything.
ain't
So
gonna
yeah,
reply. He won't.
Why
That
would
would be
you?
perfect.
Why film?
Yeah, I'm down.
Who watches crappy tournaments?
Here's
tell
a
you what, man.
Wes has a great question. Wes has a great question. It comes
Whitey
down
Outlaw.
to Whitey Outlaw. That's a whole nother story. We'll get to that in a couple months. But yeah, if I can make a story out of it, I need some stuff that I can make.
Right,
a
it's
story out of.
content. It's
Oh
content.
And
my
it has to
gosh!
have
Why don't
something
you
that
make
has a
your own
story to it.
story though? You've been working for damn ESPN and outsourced.
Why
to
would he
all
have
these
to make
other-
a story when it's
You
right
got,
in front
man,
of
you
him?
got
Why do I
come in
need to
and- you
make
gotta
a
get
story
you-
about
you
myself
gotta
when I
get
can
you
make it
damn-
about
you gotta get
somebody
some-
else?
You got to get some dirt under them fingernails, bud.
Hey,
Why,
Dieter,
You can't
why
be
would he
waiting
have
on
to go
somebody to
make-
bring the story to you. You got to go get the story, Dieter. That's
So
that's
let
where
me
you're
answer
messing
Wes'
up.
but he's got a
question real
story
quick.
in front of him.
Let me ask a question real quick for Wes here. Who watches crappy video? Man, I'll be honest with you, man. Last 3 years, crappy fishing has exploded. It
I
really
know, I was
has.
just messing with.
I mean, I think crappie fishing is bigger than fishing for catfish. I mean, as far
Crappie
as
fishing
tournament
is
money spent,
exploding as fast as catfishing is exploding.
I think it's bigger
Crappie fishing
than
is
fishing for
exploding
catfish.
as
No.
fast
It's been-
as
it's
crappie
More
been
fishing
money
bigger.
is being
It's
spent on it.
been
Well, Dieter,
bigger.
hey, Dieter, let me tell Dieter something. I heard you say you do some stuff for ESPN. Well, Dieter, I went and experienced, and I didn't know this. I just wanted to go to a NASCAR race. I got it on my mind.
Yep.
So I told my wife, I said, let's go. So I looked on the schedule, and Bristol was the next race. So she wanted to stay here with that damn dog that she treats like a baby. She said she wants to stay here and clean the house. She didn't want to leave the dog. I already knew that because I watched him on camera. Dude, that was an amazing experience. Listen, when I walked
Oh,
up on
Bristol's where it's at.
in Bristol, Tennessee. To what when I remember we were in the Darrell Waltrip section, and when I walked out and looked at that stadium or the Coliseum, and I didn't realize this at the time, it used to seat 162,000. Now it can seat 141,000 plus, and it's the largest venue in the United States, and it's the 4th largest in the world.
Yeah.
And I heard when you hear 100, and I think there was 130 something thousand there, which was really a big crowd this year for NASCAR.
Yeah.
When Denny Hamlin got out of the car and they were interviewing him, to hear 130,000 people going boo, the whole Coliseum shook. It was unfucking believable.
The last great Coliseum. That's it.
And you know what? Also, else is famous for? Virginia Tech played Tennessee there in 2016. And there was 162,000 people attended a college football game, and that's never been touched in history.
Yep, biggest college football game attendance ever. Yep.
Where did
Yep.
JR go? I was about to get on Dieter's side on that one.
Yeah.
Hey, but one more thing, Dieter. You know the Jumbotron?
Yeah.
A buddy of mine sent me a little thing about it. It weighs 700 tons.
Yep.
The cables holding it up weigh about 65 pounds per foot. And they're almost twice as big as the cables holding up the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid when you stand underneath that thing and look at it, and it's just like I try to stay on the fringes of it because it just looks like a recipe for disaster out there.
700 tons.
That's insane. For it to be suspended like it is, that's insane.
Yeah. Hey, and I got on the Jumbotron too. I did
that's some engineering work there.
Huh?
That's some engineering work to be able to suspend 700 tons.
Yeah. And when you see where those cables run up across the supports and then back out the backside of the stadium into the ground, I mean, it's some great support stuff.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's kind of some stupid stuff. So, Pete, have you got a chance Saturday?
I'm ready for JR to come back because I got some questions for him.
Have you got a chance Saturday?
There's always a chance, man. Always a chance.
JR.
It depends on the pre-fishing Thursday, Friday, dude. I don't even see the forecast for Saturday. 10 to 20, gusts to 25. So it's not looking good.
I don't want to turn on my other computer because it screws stuff up. Damn it. Are you fishing Thursday?
I'm fishing Thursday and Friday, yes.
All right.
Hey,
you want to come?
I may try to go if you can
Pete.
put me on there Thursday because I got a guy trip Friday. I may try to do that. If you
absolutely. We can play it by ear. I mean, Thursday's one of those days that if you come, great. If not, it's not going to change anything I do, regardless.
I just think telling the story, having the setup leading up to that would be awesome. That would be cool.
JR.
Yes, sir.
So what's the deal with Deer wanting to jump on the boat with me and Pete?
Well, he's thinking it sounds good right now, but he's going to realize later, like maybe tomorrow after he gets 8 hours sleep, that it's just a run-of-the-mill crappy tournament that he could film anytime he wants, and he's going to make an excuse to not show up. And it's really not that great of a story. It's a pretty saturated, overdone story. You know, going fishing a tournament, filming a tournament, blah blah blah.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want. I want run of the mill, same shit everybody else has done. And
I'll be honest with you, this tournament right
here,
nailed it.
He's going to try to. He's going to throw some cinematic shit in there. It's just going to be. He's not going to show up for it. It's not good enough.
Let me add a little background to this, by the way.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Any publicity is good publicity.
Now, if Peter was to call Dieter and say, "Listen, Dieter, I want this video to be spectacular. I'm going to be as eccentric as you want me to be. Do you have any ideas on some things that I could talk?" Then Dieter might. But just showing up and just relying on a fisherman to just be himself on camera, it's going to be tough.
But again, how is any publicity bad publicity?
Dieter knows I'm speaking truth. Am I speaking truth, Dieter?
I'm gonna tell you this. I'll tell you this. All right.
You're so far off base. It's funny, but I love it.
Let me go ahead.
I think I'm right on base.
Let me add this. There's Pete and there's tournament mode Pete. Okay, just know there's a difference between the two.
Well, when that big 80D cannon is in your face, let me know how you feel.
Hey, the good news is, Pete, I don't have an ADD cannon anymore, so you're good there.
Bad publicity. I've had some of the worst publicity that you could see on social media. I didn't show up one fucking guide trip, and everybody flipped the damn switch.
Hey, Wes,
it's lonely at the top, Lee.
Yeah.
Are you fishing down at the coast next week? I'm down there next week on vacation.
No.
Dude, when are you down there?
Okay.
Don't worry about it. He won't show up, evidently.
Dude, hey, for real, when are you down there?
I'm down there.
Hey, your name ain't Wes. Hold on a minute.
I gotta leave on
He wants
Thursday.
Wes wants to talk to the legend right now. Go ahead.
Hey, your name ain't Wes, you little half a motherfucker. No, Pete, I was gonna go, but the weather right now, Pete, I don't know if you look, but this weekend is fucking 12, 14 footers at 6 seconds apart.
Nice.
So no, I'm not gonna be down there, buddy.
Okay.
What you going down for though?
It's just a getaway, little vacation.
Dieter, when you want to make a video that'll be worth a shit, that'll go viral?
No, not really. I don't
Holler-
want one worth of
holler
shit.
at me.
Just half a shit. would be
I'm
good.
talking about something that'll go viral. I'm talking about a million views.
I honestly
Ain't no
don't
one
think
wants
you
to see
can
no
come up
damn
with an idea that
catfish,
will go
man.
viral.
A million views. I guarantee you. I know. I've done it.
With a Bud Light bottle, right?
I've done it.
We're not
multiple times.
talking about YouTube Shorts, okay? I'm talking about a real like full
I've
length
done it
video.
multiple
All right.
times, guy.
Going back
telling you.
again, Dieter, when are you in the beach? When are you there?
We get down Sunday, and I got to come back Thursday. We had to go to Talladega Thursday, so it's a
Which
short kind of
is
deal.
like day. Thursday will be September
25th through 27th is wide ass open.
Damn it, you are a week too early, man.
I know.
Damn it.
Are you down there the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th?
Yep. 3rd all the way through the 10th. The biggest tournament in the East Coast happening that weekend. So, yep.
Which weekend? The weekend.
It's going to be the weekend of the 6th.
I've got the Charlotte race and college football that weekend. So
Look at
that's
that,
why-
Pete.
Something's got to go really wrong for me to make it. So
Yeah.
You see that, Pete?
I see it.
14 footers at 10 seconds apart.
Hey, Dieter, when's your next trip on Wiley?
Friday.
Friday, right?
I definitely got a guide. Let me see. I think, Friday I got a guide trip. Thursday's a maybe, but if I can go with Pete, I'm going to push off the maybe and go fish with him. So get the backstory on this thing.
Everything's consistent. It just moved a little further back.
It was the same yesterday and the day before. There's some good fish catching right now. So, yeah, some good fish catching.
Like I was telling you earlier, JR, my circle on Norman is this big. My circle on Wiley is this big. I talked to that guy and that guy. That's about it.
The only other people I talk to on Norman on a consistent basis is Terry and Terry.
I
Both
talked to
Terrys,
Terry and TJ's stepdad. So
yeah.
Hey, I tell you what, Lee. Let's do this.
What you
If
got?
I don't have to work Saturday, I find out tomorrow by lunchtime. If I don't have to work Saturday, how about I get in that tournament and you fish with me? That way, Dieter can have plenty of room to film with Pete.
Do it.
And
I honestly don't want to fish. I would prefer to be on a boat where it's legal.
Well, Pete's already
just so I can
said.
film.
Pete's already said that there's not going to be enough. He's going to be the only one fishing because of the circumstances and the situation and the etc.
If I fish that tournament,
it works out perfectly.
If I fish that tournament, I'll be in Pete's boat. Other than that, I'll be out.
Damn, he just turned me down.
I
guess I'm gonna go. I guess I'm gonna go fish
He
it by
didn't turn
myself.
you down. He like catch.
Huffy flat out said, "I want to catch fish." That's it.
Now I'm gonna have to go just to damn redeem myself.
Just find that boat.
I'm gonna go by myself and make a video by myself. And
Huffy, just know that on my boat, you catch as big as Volkswagen. Okay.
Do what, Wes?
That makes me almost want to come up there and fish with you.
I know, by God, don't make me get fucking Wes, guys. I know Wes will do it if I asked him now.
He'll be so fucking lost. Oh, side note, by the way, Saturday there's also a 200 bass boat tournament happening too. So that is also later.
Well, it don't have nothing to do with it because bass boats running across the lake has nothing to do with fish pressure. We already cleared that out.
Right. Just know that my pre-fishing Thursday and Friday will have a lot to do with
that.
all of those coming in.
Right.
And there's also a boundary line on High Rock, which helps me out because this part I don't want to touch. So yeah.
Hey Pete, back to the F-35 thing.
Yo, what's got?
This is a fishing show.
The Marine Corps said the initial claim was, which I think they may backpedal on this eventually, that he programmed the autopilot before he ejected. Does that not sound like teetotal bullshit to you?
Program the autopilot before the ejection. So again, this is a highly sophisticated jet, probably more so than I'm used to. And mine is pretty damn sophisticated. Okay. The Airbus is probably definitely one of the most over the commercial jets out there.
I put it this way: if an Airbus crashes, they can find the damn thing versus a stealth fighter.
So when they say the autopilot or auto throttle, all that program, a lot of times a lot of that has to do with the position of the thrust levers. Okay. So at a certain position, it's all automatically programmed. And with that said, more than likely it's auto thrust and they have not been touched at all.
Okay.
So I'm sure that whatever it was, that's what it stayed at. But I'm pretty confident it had to do a lot with the protections that the aircraft had that would power out stalls and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah. I think somebody spoke way too soon is what happened 2 days ago, is what I'm thinking.
Baby.
That
biggest thing
I
is,
think
like,
they don't
I
know
don't-
how to explain it to the public because the public don't understand about computer systems and this and that, so.
Yeah.
I don't get any of it. I mean, obviously, I can put water on a fire and catch fish. That's about all I know. But if you're going to show me a picture of a plane that can take care of itself and you lost it, that don't make sense.
The one thing I'll give them a break on is the losing the plane, because if we can find the plane with an air tag, then guess what? The Russians, the Iranians, the
Listen,
Iraqis could
who
find the same
cares?
plane. So
Joe
there's a
Biden
reason
left
for
how many billions of
that
dollars worth of
protect-
aircraft over in
But it's
Afghanistan?
also interesting that the transponder was turned off
Yeah.
in the airspace that it was in,
Did
which
so.
is
Where did they
was
actually
the most
find the
monitored area there. But let's go ahead and since we're talking airplanes, did they ever find Malaysia Air from many years ago?
no.
Bingo. So
Yeah, they've got it within 1,000 square mile area of where it went down.
yeah,
Where did they actually find the plane?
in the woods somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Near Scott's
it intact?
Barbecue. Near Scott's Barbecue. No, it was broken apart.
A plane
Okay,
that can
guys.
land itself crashed.
Well, when you land in a bunch of pine trees and a swamp bottom, it's kind of hard to stay intact.
I think the aircraft nosedived into the ground, and there's not much left of it.
Yeah, it probably
Okay.
ran out of fuel, I would assume.
Well, the gist of the show is instead of doing something to get a result, do something that gives you the best version of yourself whenever you go fishing.
Be
It's been a good
confident.
show, and I'm out, guys.
Hey, I'm still hanging around, man.
Are
I'm
you guys
still
gonna
I'm
hang
here.
around? Okay.
I'm
All
here,
right.
baby. I'm here.
I'm out, and we'll see you guys next week on Real
Daryl, we'll see you, buddy.
Take care, buddy.
See you, Sweet Pea. Night, night.
So I will definitely check the rules on that, and I'm pretty sure they will give me a waiver on that as long as you film the weigh-in as well. I will also add that at
I'll need
weigh-in,
to do that.
I got to bolt because I actually got to hop a flight that evening to get to Philadelphia. So
I got
okay.
you. I'll stand in for Bolo.
that you do it, man. You do it.
I got you.
I don't
Dude,
expect
let
to
me
win.
know on that, because honestly, I'm wide open Saturday, and I was going to put the word out for a guide trip, but that would be fun to actually go shoot that and do something creative. So
And I am pretty sure they'll absolutely appreciate that too. So I'm pretty confident they'll give you the waiver. Now, the guy that runs the tournament, I know him very well. As a matter of fact, I'm the
Cool.
one that got him into crappie fishing, and I'm
Cool.
the one actually that got him in his first crappie win on Lake Wiley, actually, way back.
Hey,
Okay.
Peter,
But,
you
but yeah,
remember the first time I talked to you on the phone?
I think so.
There
Where
was
was it?
probably a couple
And
of fucks involved.
Well, no, I'm trying to think, because I'm trying to think if you were one of those like dudes that called me and I didn't know who the fuck you were. But I remember the last time you called me. I do remember that time.
No, you knew who I was, but you were in Greenville, South Carolina, filming something. I forgot what it was now, though. You were filming something here in Greenville, and we was going to get together and go out and eat, but something happened.
Trying to think of what the hell that was. I do remember that. I'm trying to think if that was a news deal. I want to say we were at, is it Kiowee or one of those lakes or something, doing some shit over there, and it was some CNN deal, and it ended up going late
I
that
thought
night.
you was doing. I thought you was doing something at the Bilo Center or the Monster Court.
Oh, I might have been doing the women's basketball, SEC women's basketball championship down there. That might have been what it was. Yeah.
So Wes, me and you get along good, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people talk shit about Dieter. A lot of people talk shit about Pete.
Nobody talks shit about Lee. 'cause he's a
Oh,
sweetheart.
Wes.
That's a
Oh,
damn
Wes.
lie.
Well,
But
People talk shit about me all
anyway,
the time.
anyway, them two dudes are solid.
Yeah.
Them two dudes are solid. I talk to both of them multiple times a week. Them two dudes are solid. People talk shit about Dieter about not showing up, blah, 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 blah. People talk shit about Pete about, oh, he'll send you on a wild goose chase. Them two dudes are solid. I promise you.
Pete, tell him what I called and told you last week. I don't care. You can go ahead and tell him.
What did you tell me last week? I don't remember. Was I
Goddamn, you already forgot? Well, never mind it. It just didn't mean that much. Fuck you.
I'm one of your good buddies. There you go.
I think of you as a friend, and I don't tell a lot of people that.
I'm the same way with both of them. However, I got to turn this to get it to point both of them. Yeah.
Same all y'all.
I've never sent nobody on a wild goose chase.
But
I was always like, if I like you, if I want to help you, if I tell you so, I hate a goddamn liar. I'll just get off. That's one reason me and Caleb Page fell out. I don't like the motherfucker because he's a liar. I've told him he's a liar. I've texted him. He called him. Some bitch won't answer the phone. He's a fucking liar. I don't like a liar. If I tell somebody something, they can take it. It might not be the truth, but I'm telling you what I know or what I believe to be the truth. And if I don't want to tell you something, I'm not going to send somebody up a wild goose chase or just think it's cute to send some guy who's trying to start in this and say, hey,
I'll send somebody. If you want to call me and ask me some bullshit, I'll send your ass on a wild goose chase.
I will actually tell them I'm not going to tell you where those fish are. I've had some people recently. It's happened last week. Somebody hit me up about, and they kept pushing and pushing and pushing on where. And I'm like, listen, dude, you got to get out at fish at some point. I'm not going to tell you the exact damn coordinates of where to go fish.
Dieter, I wish you'd have been here the whole time because this has been half the conversation.
For real. I'll tell you a funny story here real quick. I'm the type of person that if you ask me directly, I'll fucking tell you. Plain and simple. But on a public forum or Facebook, you might see something you don't want to see, but Spivey, perfect example here. Spivey and JR. It was, back in the wintertime, I guess. I think, Lee, you and I are bullshitting about something, and I said the mouth of Stumpy Creek or something.
I lined in right with that.
Yeah, and Spivey messaged me. He's like, yeah, man, so I hear they're chewing the mouth of Stumpy Creek, man, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, is that what you heard, or is that what you saw on Facebook? And he's like, that's what you said on Facebook. I'm like, learn your lesson right now, because what you see on Facebook is not asking me directly. So just know that, But yeah.
I got a text message from my stepbrother a minute ago.
Oh, did you? Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh, boy. What did he say?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
He's lying. He's lying. I can see it in his eyes.
It popped up. I swiped up and stayed where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm not going
TJ, right?
Tell him, man, hey, go back in this creek, use this bait, blah, blah, blah. I just assume not to tell them. I mean, years ago, my phone, as soon as I started posting pictures of big fish, especially on Russell. Do y'all know Mike Smedley? Anybody familiar with Mike Smedley?
I know the name. I've talked to him a time or two, but that was all through Caleb. I don't know him that well.
Mike Smedley had this big thing where, I was following him. I was trying to learn how to striper fish, and I messaged him one day, and he said he was going to bring me up to New Jersey and show me how to saltwater fish and blah, 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 and all this great stuff, and it fucking never happened.
I think I got that same message.
So 2 years ago, so about 2 years later, when I started catching all them fish on Russell, he messaged me one day out of the blue on Facebook. And he said, dude, I would love to come down there and do a video with you on your boat. And I said, you would? I said, why is that? He said, I'd love to, catch some big freshwater striper like you're catching and do a video. I said, so you're telling me you want to get on my boat, me bring you down here to one of my home lakes that is really, at that time, was still a little bit of a secret, and blow it up with a video. So we'll have people coming from 10 states blowing a small fishery up. I said, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. And he never contacted me no more. Never heard from him.
Hey, speaking of Russell, is the guy that caught those record fish out of there, is he still alive, or did he die a couple of years ago?
No, Terry McConnell is still much alive.
Is he really?
I was just talking about him earlier. He used to be like he was like my hero in striper fishing. When I first started, You know, first thing you want to do, you want to find out who's ever caught the
This is
biggest
the whole
striper.
part when I was saying you should have been here earlier.
Yeah. And
I
he, you
miss
know,
everything. Damn.
and it was Terry McConnell. And you know, I found out where he was from, and I was going to message him, and all I had heard was Terry's an asshole. Terry's this, Terry's that, and I could kind of see it because, you know, when you catch fish like that, and he had a record on Hartwell, like 57, 58 pound striper, and then 4 years later he broke his own record on Russell with a 63.5 pound fish. So I can understand that to a point. You know, people just, he probably gets tired of being asked questions, where you caught that fish, how'd you catch it, what'd you catch it on, blah blah blah. So a couple of years went by, and there again I started catching a lot of big fish in Tennessee. And he just messaged me out of the blue one day. Somebody had told him about me, and we started talking. And till this day, now me and Terry's good friends. Terry actually calls me, and he usually calls me right before the spawn, and he wants to know, you know, he'll say, hey, what's the fish doing up there? Or have you been? What did you catch? You know, where's a good place? Where's the best place to get trout? Who's got the best bait right now? And that always made me feel good for somebody of that caliber of a fisherman.
Right.
That did
Absolutely.
that, to call me and want to know what's going on with fishing. You know, and I think Lee kind of had that same thing. What was you saying, Lee? How did your story go about some of the guides?
So yeah, it was the same thing. And I mean, you opened the book right then. Like I said, I talk to Dieter all the time. I talk to Pete all the time. And Dieter can vouch for me on this. He wasn't on the beginning of the show. I never call him and say, hey, where'd you catch those fish? All I ask him is, how deep did you catch them?
Yeah.
What was the water temperature? And were you like in the mouth of a creek or main lake points? I don't ask for where you're catching your fish, so to speak. You ain't got to tell me where you're catching your fish. I just need the intel of water temperature, location of fish, and that's it. Me and Dieter and Pete, I deal with them, again, weekly.
Certain folks, I'll tell them right away, mouth of Mountain Creek, come here.
And when it comes to Wiley, when the crappie fishing's on fire, Dieter will call me and be like, hey, man, I got some people wanting crappie fish in the morning. What do I need to do? And I'm like, dude, I'd go here, do this, this, this. He's like, all right, man, I appreciate it. I can return the phone call. Dieter's schedule's kind of like mine. Like, we'll get the fish 3 or 4 days in a row, and then one of us are off. And then the other one's on. And I'll be like, all right, dude, I appreciate it. I'll let you know what I do. And I'll call you on Sunday afternoon. I've done it with both these boys. And again,
Lee knows if I
circle's
can
about
catch
that
crappie,
big.
anybody can.
Right. My circle's about that big. And I honestly share more information with 2 other dudes on here right now than anybody.
Now, my circle's that big, but the people I trust in my circle are about that big.
Again.
You know, but like Pete, when Pete come down here, and there again, you know, it's Hartwell. I still consider Hartwell my home lake, even though I don't fish the shithole no more. But, you know, Pete asked me, he said, where would you start? And I told him, I said, if it was me, where I would start at. And Pete actually said, hey, you know, I was looking at it on the map. It looked good. He went there and caught fish.
So when Pete went to Murray, he didn't call me. I called him when he was fishing the SBC.
Yeah.
I was
you know,
like,
I told him everything I knew about Hartwell, what I could remember, what I did on
I done
Hartwell.
the same thing. I said, dude, I fish live bait. You're fishing artificial, but this is what I do, and this is what works. I said, you take with it what you want and roll with it.
Going back, you know, talking to Wes, you know, that definitely helped out with Hartwell. But the places he pointed out was a very good guide, you know, as far as, you know, try here this time of year, kind of sort of, you know. And a couple of places he pointed me to, it didn't put me on the fish, which you don't, you know, they're not going to always be where someone says, you know, but I found some pretty close by, you know, within.
It gives you an idea.
Exactly. Yeah. It gave me an idea. And sure, you know, unfortunately, I did not execute that tournament very well. You know, we caught fish, but not what we needed at all.
Hey, Wes, so you were in the conversation earlier. Remember that flat I was telling you I pulled last Friday? It'll be 2 Fridays this week.
Yeah, when you try something different.
I had never pulled it, and I caught 11 fish on it.
Yeah.
When I got done catching those fish, the first person I called was Dieter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had put me in the area of the fish, and that's when I found that flat that I'd always wanted to fish, and I was like, all right, He said there's fish in the area. I'm gonna pull his flat. And the minute I got done catching them, I went to Papa Doc's, my old lady. I called him. I was like, dude, that flat where we were catching the crappie back in December and January is on fire.
Yeah.
Again, my circle's this big. But they'll both vouch for me. I ain't gonna.
Andy ate a pound of peel and eat shrimp at Papa Doc's, I guarantee.
Well, you know, my circle,
Ain't no
Scott,
doubt.
one of my best
They
friends.
were bang shrimp, by the way. They were buffalo.
Let's go back real quick. So I see his comments here from Scott. So yeah, I talked to Scott about going back to Lake Murray. Talked to Scott, someone else, and then Lee, of course, about Lake Murray. And I legit hit every spot. And some of these spots I was riding to, not your spot, Lee, that you're talking about down there in the lower end. But there's a couple I was riding to. I'm like 2 miles away, and I'm like, before I even get there, I'm like, it looks deader than fuck here. I turned back around and left, you know. And so I legit put a lot of, you know, Murray's the one lake that I rode the F out of for that tournament. And the most obvious place was legit right in front of me, and I skipped over it every freaking day until the last day of pre-fish. I mean, you know, it's plain and simple. You find the bait, the fish should be there, and sure as shit. But again, Scott told me try here, try there, and I did try all the places actually, and I did catch.
And like I told you, the place I sent you to,
and
I said it's gonna be hell for you to pull your baits where I pull my baits.
Yeah, and I tried that spot. Every spot I tried, I caught fish there, but they weren't like good fish at all. But they were all guides as far as, hey, where to go, where not to go. Now, Lee, riding to your spot there, I saw a couple of the heavy hitters fishing there nearby. I'm like, maybe I need to try over here. You know, I see a lot of bird activity, and I trolled through birds and loons and all that. Nothing, zero. So, you know, the way I fish, if I don't catch anything within 20, 30 minutes, it's time to go. They're not there, or they're not biting.
Birds will lie to you. I've never really trusted a bird.
It depends. It depends on the situation.
Wes, I sent him to Big Man's.
Oh, okay.
No, you sent me the lower end. The lower end by the humps down there, by the dam.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Big Man's was muddy, and so that's why I didn't go there.
So we talked about that.
So Wes was talking about the birds would lie to you. Yes. However, the spot that I found the fish at for that tournament, I legit seen 6 birds picking. That was it. 6 birds, no loons, no nothing. I'm like, this is a last ditch effort. I'm like, we're going to try right here, right now. We made one. And by the way, while we're trolling there, we saw Daniel Skipper there as well. I'm like, okay. But
so Wes will agree with me on this. On Murray in January, February, those big piles of birds you see with all those bass boats and all that bullshit, that ain't where you're going to catch fish. You're going to catch schoolie fish.
Yeah.
If you go and find those 6 birds picking in a creek, mouth of a creek, middle of a creek, back of a creek, that's where your fish are feeding.
That's exactly right.
In the wintertime, your best place to fish Murray is up in the Saluda River as far as you can.
But that was muddy during that tournament. So anyways, you know, we're riding and we saw like 6 or 8 birds picking, you know, around. And the day before I noticed about the same amount picking the same area, but didn't fish there. So I'm like, all right, let's just, I didn't really mark too much. I was like, all right, let's just go ahead and drop them in here, give it a try. And I mean, before I put my rods out, boom, 26 incher, 24 incher. I'm like, all right, roll them up. We're out of here. Gone. You know?
I got a question. Lee is drinking one beer, but I think he is spitting his Copenhagen into a Mick Ultra Infusions variant, something or another.
I think that's what he started. I believe that's what he started drinking. Yeah.
Yes. Whose beer is that? Is that one you drank, or is that Mama's beer?
I drank all 6 of them. I had to go back to my Busch Light.
Nice.
It's the little things in the conversation I pay attention to.
And there may be.
That'll teach you a lesson. Don't say something you think nobody's paying attention to, because I'll watch the little shit.
There may be 5 Busch Light cans sitting over there.
You know, we was talking about earlier, you know, about what I did in fishing and this, that, and other. I think, for y'all that don't know, I am a recovering addict. I've been clean now for about 12 years, 13 years, somewhere around in there.
What kind of addiction?
I'm listening, but I got to piss real bad. Go ahead.
All right. My addiction was crack cocaine. I've never smoked marijuana in my life. I never smoked pills. I never smoked.
Really?
No, I just went straight to crack. I tried it when I lived in West Palm
Wait a
Beach,
second.
Florida.
I thought marijuana was the gateway drug to all
Not
this
for
shit.
me. My mom even paid for me to go to a psychiatrist to try to help get me help. And I told him that. He said, damn. Yeah, he said, damn. He said, you started off with the good stuff, didn't you? But anyway, my point to that is I was an addict for the better part of 25 years. I pissed 25 years of my life away. But when
that's a long time to live, by the way. That's a long time to live in that world.
I shouldn't be here. But anyway.
Yeah.
But the point of that is I've got what's called an addictive personality, which being when I do something that I like, I chase it and I chase it hard.
Sure.
I do it hard. And that's what I did with striper fishing. I loved it. I loved every aspect of it.
You killed it, bro.
Yeah, I didn't mind doing it. I didn't mind doing it when it was cold. I didn't mind doing it when it was hot. I didn't care if I caught fish, if I didn't catch fish. I just had to be doing it. My wife put up with that for like 7 years, me going to Tennessee. I just had to be doing it. It's just like now, when I got to where it wasn't doing it for me, it's almost like switching to another drug. I went from freshwater to saltwater. Right. So I'm doing that hardest I can go right now. And I'm 57 years old. I hope I've got about maybe 10, 12 more years where I can actually
you got more than that.
But
you got more than that.
But I think that's my biggest thing, and my biggest success is actually being ADHD about things that I like.
Dude, your biggest success is being able to walk away from that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, dude. You fucker. I knew, and I don't say that word often. I knew there was something about you. I think I said this to you on the phone. I want to hear your story.
Yeah.
And I think I just got it in 30 freaking seconds.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
awesome.
That's a better video than anything anybody can come up with. That story right there. That's good, dude. That's good.
I think one of the biggest things for me is, and I'm not saying this bragging, but long story short, in my career, in my HVAC, I actually wound up doing a service call, and I know y'all may have never heard of him. You'd have to Google him, for a guy named Judge Billy Wilkins. Well, Billy Wilkins and his son Walter Wilkins is actually our solicitor here in South Carolina. He's Greenville County, Pickens County. He's the 13th Circuit solicitor. South Carolina, we call them solicitors. Every other state in the United States calls them district attorneys.
Yeah.
Why we call them solicitors, I don't know. But Walt is our head solicitor right now. His daddy, Billy Wilkins, is a retired federal judge. He was the head of the Sentencing Commission. Ronald Reagan appointed him 4th Circuit appellate judge for the 4th Circuit. The Wilkins up here in the upstate of South Carolina are like the Murdaughs was in the lower state.
I was just getting ready to say, it sounds similar.
Yeah, they're the same scenario, but totally different people.
Yeah.
And I put in for a pardon. Well, Judge Wilkins, this shit won't make me cry, but anyway, Judge Wilkins is actually taking time out of his schedule. He's going to be going to Columbia with me October 3rd while I go in front of the pardon board and speak on my behalf. You
need some support. I'll ride with you.
No, he's going. Well, I can only have one person in there. But I've got a violent crime on my record, and one thing I'm trying to get, I like to get my right back to, to carry a gun, because I have shot somebody before, so I don't know how that's going to go over. But anyway, it's just amazing, my life as far as what I come from, and I'm not saying this bragging. Everybody thinks it's cool, and there was always this big thing where you got to do it for yourself. You got to do it for yourself. I didn't realize it. I finally did it for my mother. But she was dying. But before my mama died, she finally, she died knowing that her son was not a crackhead no more, that I wasn't going to die in a dope house. I wasn't going to die in prison. I wasn't going to kill somebody. I wasn't going to hurt nobody. And I got grandchildren now. I got a great wife. I've got a good career. I'm not rich. I'm not going to ever get rich. People think I'm rich. I'm not rich. I've got good credit and I'm fucking irresponsible as hell. That's what I've got. But I mean, life is just good for me today. And I look back and I think a lot of my addiction is probably why I look at things the way I do today. My biggest regret is what I put people through as far as my family, victims, you know, people I stole from, people I lied to, you know, stuff to get dope, you know. But I put all that, I kind of put all that into fishing. You know, anything that I could learn about fishing, I paid attention. Just like I said there again, Pete showed me a couple of times how to rig ballyhoo. I watched videos. You know, YouTube's helped me. I mean, I've just had so much help. But I go at what I do. I go at it 100 for just like Lee right there. Lee loves that fucking beer. Look how he's going at that.
Yeah. Showing that shit like a trophy.
He's killing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that's my biggest success in fishing is when I like something and I want to do it. I'm gonna go at it 110%, and that's, you know,
that's right. You gotta post Scott Perry's comment. That's funny as hell.
Wes,
what do you say?
Wes,
Yeah,
you ever need anything, you got my phone number. You call me.
I do, buddy.
Dude, I knew there was something about you. I knew there was a freaking story.
Same thing Dieter's saying, man. I knew there was a story. I never asked. I never tried to ask. I'll never ask.
Story. You got a story, dude.
anything,
That's
you call
awesome.
me.
You know,
The good thing is that whole story is a motivation to
You
so many
damn
people.
right there.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
another
right,
thing
yeah.
I think is cool was this is why I really started looking up to Judge Wilkins. When I went over to do a service call that day, I was actually telling him, you know, so I said, I think it's pretty cool that you're Walt's dad. And I said, you know, I actually graduated the drug court program, and his son is over that program as part of the 13th Circuit Solicitor's Office. It's like a what do they call it? An intervention program. And the solicitor's office is over that. And Walt is over that program. You know, and he was asking me what I did. And I was kind of telling him, you know, what all I played in drug court for, kind of pretty much my whole criminal history. We sat there and talked for about 30 minutes. And I said, buddy, I said, I feel funny telling you all this. And, you know, but I said, I just think it's cool. You know, your son, the program he does there has touched so many people's lives and helped so many people. You know, and anyway, he stood up and he said, well, Mr. Rose, he said, and he called me Mr. Rose. I thought that was cool. He said, I got to get back to the office. You know, he's still practicing law with Nexon Pruitt now here in Greenville. He said, I got to get back to the office. But he said, the code on my door, and it seemed like it was 12-12, something to do with Christmas in December. It's 12-12 or 1-2-1-2. He said, when you leave, if the door closes behind you, you can just let yourself back in. And he said, call me, you know, if you find anything major, what you find, and I'll get you paid. And I said, yes, sir. Well, when he walked out of his house, I'm standing there in the living room, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. This man, I just told this man, just gave this man my whole criminal history. Told him, you know, some of the, well, pretty much all the shit I'd done, you know, and he just walks out of his house. And when I say his house, and I don't know what the house is worth. I would say $2.5, maybe $3 million, if I had to guess. Downtown Greenville on Park, it's actually on Park Avenue. And he just gives me the code to his house. So we became real good friends after that, you know, and when I call this man's number, he answers the phone. I don't give him what he's answered the phone before and actually said, Wes, let me call you back. I'm on a conference call. He's got out of conference calls answering my call. Now I've got the codes to his lake house, his personal house, and his mountain house. You know, and just to have people like that believes in you and trusts you, and him, when he walked out of the house that day, there was no judgment there at all. And that really boosted my confidence, and especially as far as my career in doing air conditioning, that a man like this, I just told him what I used to be, and he didn't judge me. He didn't ask me nothing. He just said, I got to go back to work. Here's the code to my house. And me and him's been friends ever since. And that was 8 or 9 years ago. So there you go. Hey, Dieter, hold on. I want to read you something right quick.
My God. What a story. What a testimony.
That's awesome, man. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, look right here, Dieter. This is, I'm going to have to put my glasses on because I can't see that good. Y'all won't be looking, but see if you can see who this is from. I don't know if you can see that.
William Wilkins.
Billy Wilkins, 212 East Park Avenue. This is what he wrote to the parole board for me. Listen to this. He said, Dear Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, woman, and members of the board, I write to highly recommend that the pardon application be submitted by Wesley Rose to be granted. I have been involved in our justice system for the past 50 years, which he has. From personal observation, I know that lasting rehabilitation by someone who has committed drug and related offenses does not come easily. It is only achieved by someone who is committed to change and committed to working hard and achieve it. Wes Rose is an excellent candidate and example of that individual. I met Mr. Rose several years ago when the air conditioning company for which he worked sent him to my home to work on my equipment. Because of our mutual involvement in our justice system, albeit in different roles, he began to share his experiences with me and his efforts to change his life. He related his experience for drug court in Greenville, supervised by Judge Charles Simmons, and he was actually the judge for drug court, and how it motivated him to change his life. He successfully completed the program, graduating in 2010, and has been totally alcohol and drug-free since 2008. Mr. Rose is an expert in the repair and installation of heating and air conditioning equipment. He now owns his own company, Wesley Rose HVAC Incorporated, and is successful because of his willingness to work hard and treat his customers fairly. I have become a regular customer and a great friend and have complete faith in his honesty and integrity. He and his wife have purchased their home in Greenville, where he spends time every week with his grandchildren, whom he adores. I asked Mr. Rose what he does when he is at work, and he responded, family and fishing. I urge you to give his application favorable consideration, and thank you very much, Judge William W. Wilkins. There you go.
So, Wes, can I say something for a minute? Dieter
Yes,
don't know this. Pete does, because we fished together last week. I've worked Gastonia Fire Department for almost 18 years.
Yeah.
Don't take none of this offensively.
Oh, I don't, buddy.
I worked in the worst part of Gastonia you can imagine.
Hey, go ahead, keep talking. I'm listening. I can hear. I'm just going to the refrigerator. Go ahead.
You good? I walked away from my job on August the 23rd of this year because I was sick and tired of Narcan people.
Yeah.
I've heard that from Buddy. Yeah.
I was bringing it home. It was awful. It was killing me. I walked away from my job. I had a city job, a state job. I mean, I was living the life. There's a little more to it. I got caught up in a little bit of bullshit when me and my ex-wife divorced. The little girl, Allie, I've raised my whole life. I didn't take her off my insurance. Long story short, the city was going to commit me for insurance fraud. I resigned from my job. I was so sick and tired of Narcan and these same people every single day.
Sometimes twice a day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
And
like
I walked away-
Norcam gave them a free ticket to get high. Don't worry about OD. Somebody's going to
That's
say
all it
no.
was. I mean,
Enabling.
like Dieter said, and that's because of the conversations we've had. I've Narcan multiple people on the same day.
Yeah.
So to see you do what you've done is absolutely incredible. It's fucking awesome. For you to do what you've done, and I ain't blowing smoke up your ass. I evidently kissed your ass earlier because I said you'd caught more big fish in Eastern North America than anybody has. But to see you do what you did is incredible, dude. I've taken a job at another fire department as a full-time job. I'll start October 1st. But that shit just wore me out. And I've done that shit for 18 years. And you, by far, are one of the 100 that got out of it. And I commend you for that, dude.
The odds are against addicts. I mean,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Peter didn't know I didn't work for Gastonia Fire Department until just now.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy come to speak, and when I think I was in phase 2, and I'll never forget this. And he said, they will probably never let me come speak here again because I'm not supposed to bring nothing negativity, to these meetings, but I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all. And he said, because I like to be honest with people. He said, I hope that everybody in this class right now makes it. And he said, that would be greatest thing in the world. But the reality is,
It ain't gonna happen.
it ain't gonna happen. And he said, reality is 1 or 2 in this class of 20 might make it and stay clean. That's reality. I'm just telling you. And then he said, the question is, which 2 of y'all really want to make it?
I'm glad you did, brother. I'm
And
glad
that
you
was,
did.
so,
What a story.
awesome.
What a testimony. That's awesome,
Fucking
dude.
awesome.
That is
well, listen
awesome.
to this. The director of drug court, who is now retired, her name is Patricia Edwards. She was kind of like my mother in drug court. She was, I tell you, when I was in phase 1, the first run-in I had in with her, me and a guy named Dax Blue, I had just got tickets to go see Key Sweat at the Bond Secure Center.
I don't even know who that is.
You never heard of Key Sweat?
Nah.
Oh, well, anyway, he's an R&B singer, sings
Keep
slow
talking.
music.
I'm gonna go pee.
So he anyway, so we're going up the steps, and I was telling Dax, I said, listen, I said, I finally got tickets to the Keith Sweat concert. I found a scalper, but I got some. And she said, hold on a minute, Mr. Rose, come back here a minute. And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, where did you say you had tickets to? And I said, Keith Sweat concert. She said, we don't go to concerts in drug court. I said, we don't. Why not? She said, because you know they're going to be smoking marijuana there and drinking. And she said, if you looked at what you played when you played in a drug court, you're not supposed to be around nobody drinking, consuming alcohol or drugs. I said, well, I ain't going there to do drugs. I'm just going to listen to music. She said, we don't go to concerts. I said, well, what does that mean? She said, it means you're not going to that concert. I said, I just gave $400 for 2 tickets. And you tell me, she said, I don't care what you do with your tickets. You're not going to that concert. And she said, I'm going to find out what night the concert is. And I'm going to make sure I do a home visit, make sure you're home. So anyway, I didn't get to go to the concert, which I did sell the tickets, but
Both of y'all were on the chain gang when I went through my divorce. Y'all seen how much shit they talked about me.
I was not a member during that time.
I wasn't either. I ain't never been on a chain gang.
Y'all seen, well, okay. Everybody talks shit about me because this, that, whatever. And then I started dating Gwen and we got engaged and all this and that shit. And they're like, oh, that's his sister. It's going to be, I know Pete's seen the backside of it now. But at the end of the day, man, it don't fucking matter.
No. It don't.
Wes, I'm proud of you. I've never met you face to face. We've talked on the phone. We've FaceTime. We've done this. We've done that. But dude, again, from going from where I was and where I'm at now, and to see you make that progress, dude, that's fucking awesome. I'm proud of you, bro.
You know, and I still live with the fact that, you know, they say once an addict, always an addict. I know. Beyond the side.
You'll always have that name, right?
Yeah.
Wes, you're a damn fishing addict is what it is, boy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But
There
what
we
I,
go. Yeah.
but what I learned about crack cocaine is I respect it. I know not to mess with it. You know, it's kind of like we used to use that analogy. If you take a paper clip, I know if I take a paper clip and I stick in that light socket, it's going to knock the hell out of me.
All right.
So why would I do it? I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Why would I go back and pick up a piece of dope? Because it don't take but one. And like I said, I've got so many reasons now. You know, I don't think about getting high no more. I feel sorry for, you know, sometimes when I'm going down Anderson Road or certain neighborhoods that I go do HVAC calls in, I know what them girls is out there doing while they're selling their body. You know, people looking down on them, and I pray for them.
And I think that's what beat on me so bad was I was just so fucking tired of seeing it.
Well, you know, my stepson.
I was like, fuck this.
Well, my stepson now, in fact, he stopped by the game tonight, you know, because his niece, my granddaughter and grandson was playing soccer. He's a fireman. He's also a paramedic. He works in Elbert County. He works for Elbert County now. You know, he said, Wes, he said, you know, and they're now, you know, being a fireman. I don't know how it was when you were a fireman, but in Greenville County, firemen are your true first responders. Fire trucks are at a scene quicker than the ambulance and the police will ever get there. Firemen are first.
Yeah.
Well, it's because so it all comes down to tax paying. Our districts are smaller. So most of your EMS, paramedics, whatever, they're county based.
Yeah.
Most of your fire trucks are they're all tax based, but they're either to a volunteer aspect of this little part, or they're a city based, which is that little part.
Yeah.
So our response area is smaller. So therefore we get there quicker. That's why they make us be EMTs, is because we're going to be the first people there.
The first ones there. Yeah, I just seen a thing the other day on TV talking about the Narcan. It was like now they were trying to, you can buy it. You can actually do so you can have it for your friends in case your friend ODs. You can have it
now. Say you overdose in Gastonia tonight. We're gonna Narcan you obviously to bring you back. Then we're gonna give you a Narcan to keep on yourself. We're gonna give whoever your significant other is a Narcan to keep on their self in case it ever happens again. They're giving it out like Pez.
Yeah.
And that's the and I'm not trying to get political bullshit. I don't give a fuck about politics. But that's the pandemic, is the fact that if you get cancer tomorrow, you got to pay for it. But if you overdose tonight, we're going to give you a Narcan, we're going to give Pete a Narcan, we're going to give me a Narcan, just in case if you overdose again, one of us can Narcan you.
You're talking about politics and everything. One of the main reasons, one of the biggest contributing factors of me leaving policing was politics. No doubt about it.
No, 100%.
And, a couple aspects with that, I got into some trouble that the chief of police would not want to back me up when I was 100% right. No doubt about it.
Same thing happened to me. We've had this conversation.
In my case, I'll tell you flat out, because I've told the story hundreds of times, probably not to you guys because, I didn't know y'all during that time frame, but, I did a lot of, I was a part of the, it's called the HITS unit, which is Highway Interdiction Traffic Safety Team in Charlotte. And all we did was traffic. That was our job, traffic. And so I was working 485 one day, and it was like 11 p.m. It was late. You clock someone doing 100 miles an hour, how are you going to catch them? You got to do 120. You got to do 120 to catch up to them, right? At least. Right. So I did 120 to catch up to them. Got him. And a couple days later, I get called into the chief's office. Said, hey, why are you doing 125? I'm like, because I had to catch someone doing that. I clocked like 99, 98, whatever. So what happened was little Miss Sally was complaining that I flew by her, blue lights and all, doing over, in her eyes, over 120 miles an hour, whatever. And just because of that, they pulled my my tapes out, which is CD, but back then I guess they pulled the CD and looked at it, and I was right. Everything was fine within the rules of law and everything, within policy, procedure, whatever. But yet I got suspended 2 weeks because I did 120 to catch someone doing 100. I'm like, nah, fuck that. Nah, can't do that.
Same thing. I got accused of insurance fraud because when me and Ashley got divorced, I didn't take Allie off my insurance.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
I didn't know it was fucking wrong.
And then so another background here, I actually went to apply with and got granted a slot in trooper school way back in the day during the Bev Purdue days. And that alone was the reason why I left. That was my ticket out. So I got accepted to class. It was one class, very highly competitive, had my slot. And I didn't get a phone call. I got a fucking letter in the mail saying, hey, due to budget cuts, we will not have a class this year. But if you're still interested, please reapply. I'm like, oh, well, damn. So I waited all this time, and now you're telling me no. And then 2 months later, I go to the Raleigh State Fair. 2006, I think was the year, 2007, somewhere thereabouts. I go to the fairgrounds there in Raleigh, and I see like 100 brand spanking new Dodge Chargers sitting in the dang parking lot there, ready to get striped and light bars and everything. I'm like, budget cuts, huh? My ass. There's no damn budget cuts. It's the fucking government telling you, no, we don't need no more troopers.
Call me tomorrow. I got a hell of a story for you.
I'm full of them, so yeah.
Yeah. I got done the same way. The way it went down, and it wasn't. It was out of the fire department's hands.
Hey, Lee. Hey, guys, hold right quick. I'm going to bed. I'm gonna leave the room up. When y'all get ready to sign off, just sign off. I'm just.
We might as well call it quits. Might as well, right?
Yeah.
Well, Lee was talking, but I got to go to bed. But I'm gonna remove myself, but y'all can stay on.
I can call Pete tomorrow.
Yeah, we can chat. Yeah. Anyways, all right. It's been a real one.
Hey, Lee, talk to y'all later, buddy. Good luck in the tournament.
If you need anything, Wes, for real.
Same to you, brother.
I'll give you a shout sometime tomorrow, Lee. See you.
All right, sounds good. See ya.
All right, bye.
Bye.